Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Book Roundtable. We're late, but we're here. Yeah. And with me tonight, I have Sergeant America Mike. How's it going, sir?
Boom, excellent as always. Snow deep, and I'm ready to go.
Right on. Nothing better to do than when you're snowed in. Talk comics. And
Yes.
of course, we have those Rez Reese. How's it going, Rez?
Great. As soon as I log.
Right on. Rez is still reading books. I was still reading books. It's one of the reasons why we're starting as late as what we are. I didn't get all of mine read, but I got a few of them read, so we're going to talk about them. And first, we're going to talk Marvel, which means Rez is going to disappear for a few seconds so she can finish up some of her reading while we talk Marvel, because she's such a Marvel fan. She doesn't want us to spoil anything for her for when she gets around to reading all that Marvel stuff she's going to be reading and whatnot. So, and actually, this week, neither me nor Mike read any Marvel books, right?
No, we did not.
But we're going to talk. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did look at the Del Mundo one, the new Inhumans, but it's only like half to 3/4 Del Mundo, and then someone else is doing pages like every 3 to 4 pages in the middle. So it was like chop, 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 Del Mundo, chop, chop, chop. This other guy, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying $5 for not all Del Mundo art. It did look a little thicker, but that's not what I was there for. I was 100% Del Mundo, and I would have done it. But
I wonder if those chopped up parts are different story. Do you know what I mean? Like a flashback or something like that. I mean, I don't mind an art change in a book if that's the case. If it's something, because then that really defines the difference between the present and the past. Like we'll get into the Wildstorm comic later on. And there's that where he's talking, the guy's telling the story about the past. It's all in black and white, but they could have used a completely different artist for that part of it to really give it its own look. Yeah. So I mean, I'm okay with artists. Would there be a change, a fundamental change in the art when it's relevant to the story that's there? If it's just you're going along reading a page, you flip it from page 4 to page 5, and suddenly it's Superman's nose is completely different because it's a completely different artist is doing it. That's bothersome. I don't care for that at all.
And I might not have been as critical, but the $1 extra gouge, I'm not doing it.
Right. For the melting your hand pages, cover. Yeah. I hear you. I didn't even look at it. I'm being harsh on Marvel right now. Shocker, I guess. Just speaking about general Marvel kind of things. I read Doctor Strange last week. I loved it. It's still part of the whole Loki is currently Sorcerer Supreme, and the two of them are kind of tumbling and tussling with each other. Coates is writing a great story. All the characters are really good in it. I'm a really big fan of this kind of younger Loki character anyway. He's doing a good job of continuing to capture that style of this Loki and all of that. And I like Wanda's art, the guy who did the Vision. I'm digging all of that. But coming up very soon is a Doctor Strange. There's like a mini series, a 4 or 5 issue mini series where he's in Vegas doing something, and that miniseries is going to cross over with the regular series. Plus, there's some other tie-in books. So we're talking 15 issues to get the whole Doctor Strange story. Bullshit. Especially when most of it is the same writer is writing all of the stuff. That to me, that's just a money gouge. Put it all in one book. Why couldn't that just all be in the Doctor Strange title? Why does it have to have a side mini series if it's tying up the regular series at the same time? For me, the idea of having a mini series off the side is if I want to read that story, I can go read that story. Otherwise, I can stick with my main title and not be bothered with it. But if it's going to cross over for 3 or 4 issues, so I'm dropping it.
Yeah, it is about the price gouge. I mean, that is. They're just looking to make you pay as much as possible.
Yeah. I'm dropping it. And hopefully, when the event's all done, the people are still on the book, I'll pick it up again. But I'm not gonna get a book that I only get to read a fifth of. Yeah. Not gonna do it.
Along those same lines with Donny Cates, the second book I passed up was Thanos because I was stupid. I did not put it on my pull list because I'm always still iffy on that. And I missed out on number 1 and all the reprintings I'm waiting on. And so we're 3 deep now, and I can't get any. So anybody who goes to my shop wants to grab the new Thanos, they're just going to get the 1 copy because everything else is sold out. And especially I think this issue was because it was the reveal on who the Ghost Rider was.
Of course. So people would be picking it up, those that like the that part of it. Well, either speculating or it's cool to have the quote unquote key issues of the new Ghost Rider or what I guess, which I totally get behind, get that. But that's tough. That's tough. The whole, put on your pull, you're gambling to some degree, and with the struggles that are Marvel having now, your shop sounds like it's healthy to the best of your knowledge. But I do know that the way, there's been lots of articles written. There was a big Twitter thread. There's been lots of information out there right now about kind of the predatory way that Marvel wants to sell their stuff and what kind of a bind it puts the shop in.
Yes.
So they're not going to overcommit because it's really the shop is buying it from Diamond, and then they're hoping that they're going to be able to sell to you. But clearly but the other side of it is it's a bummer when you're a customer that would be buying that book if that book was available and it's not available. So that has to be hard for them. I mean, I would never want to run a comic book store anymore. I used to always think it would be really cool. Not anymore. Not anymore.
And in my state, of course, I'm in Sioux Falls. It's about 250,000 people, just for everybody to know out there. But, South Dakota. So there's not a lot of people anywhere else in the state. An hour north of me, there's a college town, Brookings. Their store closed after 3 years because that's what their lease was, and it just wasn't making what they thought it would make. So, though right next to them is a tasty ice cream and warm sandwich kind of place. They own both of them. They're keeping that open. So that tells you burgers and ice cream still sell. Comics aren't doing that. To the far north, about 3 hours north, Aberdeen, that store closed, but that was a tough spot. And it was still another college town, but wasn't doing it. And then, of course, what everybody thinks about South Dakota, Rapid City in the far south, west of the corner, Mount Rushmore, tourism, all that kind of stuff. They have a nice little bookstore / comic book store. The Storytellers, that's still doing good as far as I can tell. So that leaves my state with 2. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with mine. But mine's doing good, but I know they're struggling a little bit in like Lincoln, Nebraska with their second store.
Right. Because that's the newer store, right?
Correct. Yes. Yep. And it's already saturated. There's 3 or 4 in Omaha, maybe 1 in Lincoln.
Right.
And they got a really good base of people. They got a con that shows up there, but it's just one of those things where I think you have to fight for your customers.
Well, yeah. Well, any small business, I think, is that way anyway. Yeah. So I'm looking at the comments too, and Stay Puff 1983 is here, and he says hi to everybody. And they also say that that he doesn't buy much current stuff himself, and if he does, typically it's out of the dollar bins. Smart way to go about it. And trades of stories that are good, or you get great reviews and whatnot, which totally get behind that. I'm a singles reader myself. I like single issues, so we are going to talk about a single issue that came out 2 weeks ago, right?
2 weeks ago, correct? Because we spoke that time about it. Yeah. I pretty much told you that this is the funeral for Creed. We're meeting up with Titania, his bride, and this is really about Black Bolt on Earth interacting with her and how he deals with it. Mm-hmm. But of course, I felt that they shoehorned in Captain America. Because it was I apologize, where he was saying about, I'm sorry about what I did to the Inhumans when the Hydra thing happened. And I really felt that they're just forcing that in.
See, you thought so? You thought that was it? That was something like, you think that was something editors said, hey, let's drop Captain America in there because if we put Captain America on the cover, the people who think they have to own the Captain America stuff are going to possibly pick up
they were allowed to do what they want during the storyline, and it didn't touch the Hydra. And that's what was beautiful about the storyline before. I just didn't feel.
Well, that's because they were in space. Clearly, that's irrelevant because they're in space dealing with their lives,
Yeah.
you know, kind of a thing. And I don't know. I guess for me, it didn't feel like the Captain America showed up to apologize. Captain America showed up because he'd heard there were all these criminals were all gathering together. So clearly there was some, you know, he needed to be there to bust it up. And oh, Black Bolt's here. So clearly Black Bolt must have heard about it too. And now that he's face to face with the king of the Inhumans, it's like, well, I kind of want to apologize for all that other crap, which would be weird if he didn't. If this is if this is a relevant universe and it's all supposed to be attached to itself, and that's one of the charms of the Marvel universe is that it is that way. He can't not say something, right? I mean, because that would even be. Oh, I guess he could have not said something as long as they put it in the story that he was saying nothing and that was really awkward. That'd be fine. So that doesn't strike me as being Captain America. I mean, some of these writers are trying to pull back Captain America back from the disaster that Nick Spencer and Marvel put him in the whole, in my opinion, in the whole Hail Hydra crap and the Secret Empire and whatnot. So for me, that didn't bother me at all. I didn't feel like it was shoehorned in. I kind of liked him being there because it would make sense that some heroes would hear about this congregation of villains, you know, and then to find out it's a funeral. Ooh, you know, I kind of like that. I like the uncomfortableness of it. I did think it was kind of weird that she asked him to say a few words, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm a sucker for, which is one of the reasons I've kind of liked the Black Bolt and I liked Absorbing Man being in it, is he kind of is the hero. You know, he really is the hero. He sacrifices himself. He's the ultimate hero kind of thing. And I like villains who can flirt with being, they're not one-dimensional. They're not just the bad guy. I mean, you know, they've made choices in their life that makes them a bad guy, but they aren't always necessarily the bad guy. So I kind of like that whole thing to some degree about the fact that, you know, I mean, you know, this is honorable stuff he did, you know, that they could recognize that, he's lived a life of crime, but this is honorable things I've heard he's done on it. So I kind of liked it. Right. Now you made a comment when we talked about it before, that you liked Christian Ward's art better when he was in space, the whole cosmic look and whatnot, because he does lots of really bright, you know, washes of color, whatnot. And I agree in that, at least in the sense that this issue wasn't as, I didn't think the art was as strong in general across the board. I thought the elements, and maybe it's because it is on Earth and we should have a stronger sense of what stuff looks like. And it was very kind of abstract, that made it you know, made it harder as far as some of that art goes and stuff. So I do agree in that.
Yeah, like with the gathering we have here, you know, I guess I'm used to a certain house style of Marvel art. Sure. And then, I mean, when you see Cap, you know, it just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But I mean, his Titana was just amazing in this.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the thing. I
really love that character.
Yeah. I guess that was the only problem I had with it. It was just, when I think superhero, I think house art.
Yeah, and it's definitely not. It's definitely not. It'll be curious to see where, because I don't know where the story's going from here. I mean, clearly we understood what the first, you know, arcs of it were, because it was all about the prison and all that and getting out of all that. So what is next? I mean, part of me keeps wondering, are they really on Earth?
Oh,
or are we just getting a long version of some drawn out something that's going to stab him in the heart? Because of course that's what the prisoner has been doing, right? The prisoner has been tearing them apart. I mean, have they not won? Yeah. I'm thinking they have. But
all right, I read Solicit, so I know what the answer to that is.
Oh, okay.
So
anyway, I haven't. But I'm still really enjoying the book. I think it is a bright spot in the sea of Marvel sameness. I really am enjoying it, and as long as it's going on, I'm gonna write it out, I think.
Because it is number 9, and it is, from what I saw, only going to 12.
Oh, really? And then it's done, huh?
Yes. Yep.
Well, that's a fair amount. I'd rather get a solid landed story than them holding their breath every month thinking they're going to get canceled. So,
I'm trapped behind the gate, just for you to know, with all the cats. So if you
I can hear
that,
yes.
All
right. Boy, you know, if it's going away, that's going to leave me with Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
That's it, because they're canceling Hawkeye. I'm dropping Strange.
Yeah.
This is going away.
And now with Hawkeye, you mean Kate Bishop, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if it was Clint you're looking at, I am debating. I really did enjoy
the old man.
No, the Tales of Adventure with
that
Bucky
one. Okay.
and him. Yeah, that one I really enjoyed. But of course, the first time I went to look for it, I can't find it because it's under Tales of Adventure or whatever it was.
Right.
But I think it's going to be good. I've enjoyed it. But
that's a Chip. Is that a Chip Zdarsky? Right, he writes that, I think.
I'd have to double check.
I think it is. So it's gonna be kind of a fun, because most of the time he writes kind of fun, more lively type books and whatnot. So, yeah, no, I really like the Kate Bishop. Not that I got anything against the other Hawkeye, depending on how they're writing him and whatnot. I mean, he's been.
But she got an exclusive. I mean, doesn't it seem like she should have the right to keep that book going if they signed her exclusive?
But not if it makes any money. What it is they recognize that she is a good writer.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I mean, and then there's a million reasons why.
Yeah.
That could be why the book hasn't found a large enough audience to keep it around, which is unfortunate because it's a great book. But they recognize. I mean, I see lots of people. Lots of other professionals saying this is a really good book and you should be reading it.
Yes.
And I don't think they're just saying that because they're like best friends with her. Now I'm drawing a blank on her name. Anyway, the writer on Hawkeye, I just think those people generally like the book, and because I think she's generally shocked the people that these other creators that she looks up to are saying it's a great book and whatnot. So I think it's it's just one of those kind of things that critically acclaimed books come along and they never sell because for whatever reason they can't find an audience. That doesn't mean that it's not an excellent book and that it wasn't the best thing ever written. It just means it didn't get an audience because the company didn't push it hard enough, the shops didn't push it hard enough, whatever the case may be, kind of a thing. I mean, there's all those reasons why those kinds of books get.
Is it Kelly Thompson?
Yes, thank you, Kelly Thompson.
Right.
And it's. The book is adult enough that I don't think it has the avenue into like scholastic books like Squirrel Girl and Ms. Marvel does, where those books can kind of squeak by on single sales because the trade sales and the book market sales for those books is like through the roof. From everything my understanding is that those books are selling just like crazy. So those books could drop to 5,000 in single issue sales, and they're going to be happy because they're selling 100,000 trades or whatever. So
who do you think she would write then? They just need to slap a big character name on there.
Who does she need to write?
Yeah, well, I mean, because if it's that she's going to write for a big character, I presume, to show her skill.
I would hope so. If they're going to sign her to an exclusive, you'd hope they're going to use her. I mean, she's writing the Rogue and Gambit book, which I hear people are really liking. I hate Gambit and don't want Rogue anywhere near him, so I'm not reading it. It's my own personal hang up. So as far as that goes, so I don't know. Because I don't think that's an ongoing. That's a mini. I want to see her on Spider-Man. You want to be quite honest? Let's put her on Amazing Spider-Man. She has, at least in the Hawkeye book, the book has fabulous comedic timing and great action and whatnot. That's Spider-Man, isn't it? He has his goofy, funny, dorky Peter Parker moments, and then he goes and fights some bad guys. Perfect. Really freak people out. Put a woman on Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, the internet's going to lose its mind.
Yeah.
I buy it.
Zdarsky right now?
No, it's what's this? It's Slott.
It's Slott. Slot's right. Okay, all right.
No, we don't know. They haven't said who's writing it next. Rumor had it was that it was going to be Nick Spencer.
Spencer, okay.
Because that Spider-Man costume would look awesome with a swastika on it somewhere, right?
Okay. But now, so it's Slott and Imoen, is that right? Doing the art?
I don't know who's doing the art right now.
I think it's Stuart Immonen. I saw it and I would love to pick it up. I'm not paying once again the Marvel prices for that product. Yeah. I'll wait and get it in a trade.
Yeah, but if they put Kelly Thompson on, I would go and start picking up Amazing Spider-Man. I kind of want to pick up Amazing Spider-Man. It was basically the first comic books I read as a kid. That's what I got was Amazing Spider-Man. And so I want somebody else on it. I just don't want to read a Dan Slott story. I'm tired of him. 10 years of him doing it. The bits and pieces that I jumped in and whatnot, not really my thing. So I just, am biding my time, waiting for that to get changed. So I hope it's somebody interesting. I hope they get somebody new and lively to do it, and we'll kind of go from there.
I support Dan Slott, and I know that he watches the show for to see me when I am allowed to be on here. So just to say that I just needed to say it to my friends.
Okay.
I haven't been banned by him on Twitter yet.
So you collect your $5 for promoting Dan Slott? Is that okay? Yeah. I'm just gonna read over the comments. Stay Puff is saying that he has no problem with the woman being on the book. That would be pretty interesting. All right, I think it's the time for change. Or put Gail Simone on it. I mean, Gail Simone's over there starting to write some Marvel stuff. She'd be another somewhat natural, I think, to throw on the book if they really wanted to change stuff up. But I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they're starting to court that whole group of dudes that think that we need to go back to the 90s because that's when there was quality comics. Sometimes it feels like they're courting those people, and if they're courting those people, they're certainly not going to put anything remotely close to diversity on any big title. I don't know. I don't know what's going on internally there. It seems like a mess. So
I think we found out the artist for the Domino book is the former artist, I think, for the that Blade and Santana and that group. I think that's who the same artist is going to be.
Is it? I was thinking that it was somebody that I was kind of interested in. I think it's curious that they put Greg Land on the covers, though, which is a total disaster for me. So that's a book that I don't know about. I don't know. I'm interested in that character. Gail might write a fun story with her. It's going to come down to the day that I have to order those comics on whether or not I get that or not. So,
well, I gotta hope that she approached him with a hell of a pitch, and that's why they decide. But they do have the movie coming out. She is going to be a main character. They may just want to put something on the shelf. So, as much as I love Gail, after getting burned by the Secret Six. Thank you, sir. That one. Yeah, I just saw those recently while pulling some books, and I don't know. I just don't know.
Hot and Cold. She writes some stuff I really like, and then she writes some stuff that. Anyway, so it'll be interesting. Any other Marvel stuff you want to talk about?
Not that I could think of right offhand. I was trying to think if there was anything news-wise.
How many weeks out are we from Black Panther? It's early February, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Got your tickets?
My store bought it. No, my store bought, but of course at night I watch the daughter, so I'll be catching it late. So late to the party.
Yeah. I haven't bought tickets. But I'm hoping to get to go see it opening weekend for sure. Right. I'm super stoked. It looks awesome. I'm trying not to see, shots of it anymore because I don't need to see any more of it. I know I want to go see it, so I'm trying to practice the not seeing any of it to see what that's. I
know some of the pre-screenings of it they said, or the pre-sales. They said it's one of the largest, fastest selling of the Marvel movies as of yet. So it does look fun. I'm nervous. It's other than it being a Marvel movie, I'm nervous that it's not going to come to my small place. Oh, okay. Just because it makes money, though.
Well, you're right. I just don't know because I live in a very backwards kind of thinking part of the world, and not exactly sure if people are going to show up to a all people of color cast. I don't know. I mean,
how far over is the college from you?
Well, see, I am basically in a college town,
okay,
but it is a very white college town.
Okay.
Very white. Generally, most of the people in it are. It's more baseball than anything else, and it's mostly, yeah. I mean, there are 2 universities that are, about 40 miles away, but they have their own movie theaters, and they'll go there. The movies will be there for sure.
Okay.
I just don't know. I mean, The Color of Water has not come to. It's actually nominated. I mean, it's nominated for what, 13 Oscars. It won how many Golden Globes? It's not, and it's still not here after winning the Golden Globes, just to give you an idea of. So I don't know, but it's a Marvel movie, and Marvel movies, I mean, I think Thor is still showing here. So, so it'll probably come because of that. I just don't know, but I'm worried that if I don't go like in the first week, I might not get to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. So they're talking about in the comments, they're talking about the renumbering, because all these books got their legacy numbers and all that, and that things like She-Hulk is being canceled. So what's the point of the renumbering? Suddenly She-Hulk is now number, whatever it is, 100, whatever. What was the point? It's all canceled again anyway. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. I'm all for the big books getting their numbers back. The Captain Americas, just like Detective Comics and Action Comics for DC got their big numbers back. Those numbers feel important in some way or whatever. But the kind of the kind of weird way that Marvel went about suddenly, Iron Fist is now suddenly it's in its 70s or whatever it is, seems somewhat disingenuous as far as giving it those numbers. Any book that he was in, they counted that as another number, kind of a thing. So I don't know. The renumbering thing seems somewhat disingenuous, like I said, because it feels like they're kind of fishing for any issue that they can say, oh, Venom is on a 93rd issue. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Because this miniseries and this miniseries over here and whatever, I don't know. But
I know. Luckily, I don't really do too much with my books that way. And now they're just going in short boxes. I'm giving up on all system whatsoever. Just putting them in a box.
I hear you. But, yeah, but someday you're going to decide, where's that at? And you can't find it. And you're going to think, I need to organize this. And then it is such an overwhelming task. So
I will be so senile it won't matter at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be all fine just to read them out of order. So.
There you go. Just randomly grab a book and read it. There you are.
Yeah.
Right on. Alrighty. I don't have anything else Marvel wise. I don't know if Rez is listening to us. We'll jump on to some DC books.
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure.
And I know that she normally reads some. First time I'll talk this, and hopefully we'll get her back. We're talking DC, Rez. Right. Detective Comics, issue 973. Speaking of the renumbering books and whatnot, there she is. I'm not really digging this book. I mean, there's some cool art here of this giant Clayface, because Clayface has got totally rogue. He's lost his any ability to control himself, and he's just this giant monster. So some great him being a monster across this thing and whatnot. The Tim Drake Red Robin malarkey that's in this is horrible. I think it would be horrible even if I didn't hate Tim Drake. But look at this. I mean, there's some awesome double page spreads of, Clayface is as big as skyscrapers now. Because basically what's happened is over all the years, Batman has been scraping up all the little pieces of Clayface that get left behind everywhere. Yeah. And they made this basically this danger, X-Men equivalent danger room. And they use they control the mud from the leftover mud from Clayface. They control it to be the bad guys in their battle room, right? Because they can just recycle it. It's really easy to do and stuff. Well, it is all gathered up and Clayface is now in control of the entire thing. So he's walking around with, like, you know, clearly hundreds and hundreds of Clayfaces worth of clay that he's, you know, storming around as this giant monster. So as far as, you know, stomp around monster goes, it's cool. That's all, you know, fun and whatnot. I was trying to see if I can find the other. There's one other kind of, well, anyway, driving the Batmobile into the mouth of Clayface. Anyway, so I'm disappointed in that they never really did anything with Clayface. I mean, this is kind of the story, the Clayface story arc, but it's him just coming apart at the seams and being a big monstrous thing, and they're going to put him down. As opposed to really exploring him being a hero beyond being a living Batman utility belt. So, boo, as far as that goes. The Tim Drake stuff in here, he gets a concussion. It flashes back to him, talking about how great this whole thing is. And he's so brilliant. He just makes all this stuff just, oh, yeah, I can do this too. And I was thinking we could do that. I mean, I don't know. He's too smart for his own good. It's just disgusting.
So what set Clayface off? What was the initial? I mean, what's the trigger point?
So he is slowly. He's got these bracelets that are kind of help him keep it together. The more he spreads himself out, the more he kind of loses control and becomes his natural state when he's in the clay form is this aggressive monster kind of thing. He's just been stressed out a lot, and the supervillain team called the First Victims, or the Victim Syndicate, they have set him up. They kind of push his buttons a whole bunch, and a woman that he had hurt way back when he first became Clayface has been messing with him, and they break him spiritually. They kind of break him, and he loses it. And once he gets so far out of control, then he can't get back in control. They end up hitting him with a thing to like make him zap back to himself briefly. Orphan, who's kind of the one that's kind of the closest to him, tries talking him down, and Batwoman takes him out. Like, she gets a gun. She got a gun a couple issues ago from a father that supposedly will like make him inert.
Yep.
And she plugs him. Batman says, "No guns of your father's will be shot in Gotham." And she's like, "Yeah, okay." And at the very end of it, she's like basically, "Close your eyes, Orphan." And
look at the flowers. She's like, "Look at the flowers."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Kind of. But he's saying, "Kill me. Somebody put me out of my misery because I'm just going to lose control again." And he starts to lose control again, and bang. So who knows what happens next? I just know that my problem is, this is written by Tynion. Tynion's favorite character is Tim Drake. And if this just continues to be the Tim Drake special, for me, it feels like it's moved away from what the book, when the Rebirth first started. It was Batwoman's team, and she was going to have these young kids, and they were going to learn how to be superheroes together. And instead, it's become an army of Batman. And So looking at the comments, Stay Puff is saying that the Clayface story is so underwhelming after a decent start. So much story left the table. I totally agree. I mean, he would have been a cool to, like, it's once again, explore the villain trying to be the hero but even if this was ultimately what they planned on doing with him, this kind of him fall from grace, they needed to give him more before we had the fall. We weren't given enough of his character to buy into this fall that's happening. So disappointed in that. What other DC books do you want to talk about?
Let's see. Doom Patrol.
You watch Doom Patrol?
Yes.
Doom Patrol.
No.
Oh my. Here, I even got the other one.
I like that. I love that first one though. That first cover.
Yeah. This is the regular cover. This is the Nick Darrington cover, which just to me it looks so much like an old Vertigo Doom Patrol cover. Really calls back to that run of it. Yeah.
I love it.
So it's been a long time since we had the last issue.
It has. It's been so long.
But I tell you what, I loved every page of this book. Like every panel, I was like, oh yes, this is so Doom Patrol. This is so just like off the rocker.
I'm I was still laughing at what I thought about that one panel.
So yes, I tweeted around and shared a panel at the very beginning because so everybody's eating the shit chips, right? Which I absolutely freaking love. Of course, it's all these exclamation points and stuff. It spells shit. Come on, we all know it does.
Yeah.
So everybody's been eating these shit chips, and the shit chips are like a slice of like unreality. And after what's her name? Not Casey. What is her name?
No. Terry. Her name is Terry Nunn.
Terry. Yeah, Terry Nunn. She starts tap dancing, and the shit goes off, and everybody. I love saying that, the shit chips.
Yeah.
And yes, so I tweeted this panel, but I tweeted like just this much of it, of our poor little purple bear there, passing a very wet spiky ball, and of course the Pinocchio of the. I don't know what the Pinocchio's doing. I just, yeah. Anyway, but yes, absolutely loved this thing, and this Doom Patrol will show you that yes, you can kiss somebody and get pregnant. So remember that, boys and girls. You know, use protection even when you're kissing, because you can get pregnant. I just loved everything about it. I loved it. What was that?
Saran wrap at your local Aldi's, Costco's, Food Lion, Walmart.
Yep. Cheaper than dental dams.
Yep. Double it up.
But every panel of this thing has got some crazy nutsy thing going on in it. They're there. Doom Patrol is investigating, of course, because Lewis has disappeared. You know, our kid that was hanging out in his room doing the satanic stuff, he's disappeared. So they're all there figuring out, you know, what's going on. Even Flex Milano is there. You're like, what have you figured out, Flex? Well, there's, you know, all the right vegetables and fruits in the refrigerator. So this boy, if he's been eating these foods, he's you know, healthy, got a healthy diet, blah blah blah. And they're like, okay, thanks for that. That's really helpful. You know, the whole Dada squad has shown up, and they're, you know, wreaking havoc. They're gonna, you know, undo all of reality. Yeah, and meanwhile, we've got this whole redacted character who wants his own movie and his own comic book. He's trying to figure out how to get that back. We finally get Rita. They finally mentioned Rita in this, the which is the only Doom Patrol character that really has not been in the book. The only person that probably the original team. You know, there she is. They comment on her being a 2-bit actor and got turned into a woman who can stretch herself out and stuff like that. And they want her because she's supposed to be this guy that's been redacted for copyright. He wants her because that's his wife, so he can take control over stuff again. So I'm loving all that. I don't know. The whole fight. Yeah, there they are, the shit chips. Come on, that's clearly SHIT. Come on, clearly. Anyway, reality is going bonkers, and they fight. They find out that that you know, what's her name is pregnant. That Terry Nunn is pregnant. There she is, and she's not just pregnant. I mean, she's literally, we got to get her to hospital. Oh no! I love how good Niall's face looks here. I mean, because a lot of this art, none of the art is bad, but most of the art is this kind of fresh face, smoothed look to it. And then his
art was fantastic in this issue.
His face is just so good. Talking about how the fact that, you know, here is this is Terry Nunn and Casey Brinky. That's what it is.
You know, my favorite scene was when they're in the back of the ambulance, and she was like, Casey, I think I like you. And the Casey's, no, she's like, Casey, I like you. She's like, and the Casey's like, I think I like you too.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cute.
Because she's having, they're racing off in of course the Danny the Street ambulance. You know, not I love you, I think I like you. You know, and everybody's chasing the Doom Patroller on bicycles, except for Flex, because Flex says you get better exercise in your whole body if you jog. So he's jogging with diapers under his arms because, of course, a baby's getting born. He's concerned that nobody stopped in the baby food aisle, but, you know, whatever. And our Dada's group is chasing after Mr. Nothing here. Our guy with the question mark head. That's his kid. His kid is the one that's having the baby. So they're all racing to chase after them. Then I paid for this high quality art. It's a page with 4 word bubbles, but it works. It's so cool because literally the baby's being born, and when the baby's born, it pops out nothingness. So you get these pages of nothing, and then they break through the fourth wall. Crash. End of the book. End of the book is a giant car crash or ambulance crash at the end. But I mean, this book being gone, I was worried. I was gonna be like, what the hell? But this issue, best issue of the 10 issues so far, for me, this issue was just like all the way through it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome. I'm still like I'm kind of glad that the little boy, the magician boy, what's his name? I don't know why I can't recall his name.
Lewis, right? Isn't it Lewis?
Is it Cliff? Maybe I don't know. Is it Lewis?
No, it's not. I think it's Lewis because Cliff's Robot Man. So
yeah, okay, Lewis. I'm glad Lewis bonded back with his mom and dad, and he kind of Cleus. No.
I'm looking. You talk. I'll look.
Yes, Lucius.
That's what it is.
Lucius.
It's Lucius.
I knew it was something like with the S, and there was something. Okay, there you go. It was gonna kill me. It was gonna kill me. I was like, yeah. Anyways, I'm glad that he bonded back with his dad, and he kind of, he was hurt. The boy was hurting. He was hurting, and he was like, "Dad, Mom left us."
Yep.
I was hurting, and like I was happy. I was a happy child, and she almost died. This woman tried to take her away from us. I want her to die. I want her to end.
Oh yeah, Jane. Gonna take out.
Oh, I know. Jane. He was saying he wanted her. He was saying he called her a woman, but
yeah.
He was talking about Jane. He was referring to Jane.
Yeah.
I like that moment in the grocery store.
And then a demon from hell shows up and goes, "Look, you've got real magic, not this fake hocus pocus crap you're doing. You've got real magic, and you need to come back home and save us." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere without my family." And the demon goes, "Okay," and they all pop.
Yeah,
and they're all gone. So they've all been sucked away to, I assume, hell.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a whole other story. Then who knows what we'll hear. That's the biggest problem. So this is issue 10. It's been 18. The book's been out for 18 months, and they just hit issue 10. This is supposed to be a monthly comic. I mean, all the other Young Animals books have been on break now because there's this whole Milk War thing that's coming up. If you've bought any DC comics, if you haven't seen the ads for all the new comics from the great artists that are coming out, there's also this ad that's there, the Justice League and the Young Animal. I'm getting all of these. I'm excited about them all. Looking forward to checking them out. I just think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this JLA Doom Patrol one works when the Doom Patrol, of course, is so far behind all the other comics on telling its story. So I don't know, because like I said, the rest of them have been on break. But the Mother Panic Batman special, that one will be fun. The Shade the Changing Girl and Wonder Woman will be awesome. Cave Carson and Swamp Thing. And then, of course, another Doom Patrol and JLA to end the whole thing, the part 5 kind of thing. And it should be starting next week, I believe. Okay. I believe. So I'm like I said, I'm excited to check that out too, to see what that's like. Then soonish, I think the next chunk of Young Animal books should start coming out. I think it's Cave Carson has a Cosmic Eye now. It's Shade the Changing Woman as opposed to Shade the Changing Girl. I think we've kind of talked about it before. I'm a little worried, but Mother Panic jumps either 5 or 10 years into the future, and she's in a Gotham that has no Batman. So I'm not.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little.
I'm not happy about that because I've really liked the Mother Panic book quite a bit, and I wanted the slow exploration of everything.
Okay,
and a 10-year jump is not a slow exploration. That's a little nerve. Let's just give up a whole bunch of story that could have happened. I would have loved to have read the book for 10 years. It got a 10-year story.
How much people? Okay, this is my question. How much people are reading this book, and are they feeling a need to rush through 10 years? This is my question.
It's either that or they decide they need to change it up because people weren't buying it what was how it was. maybe too many people, they heard too much criticism of this is the same as Batwoman. This is the same as Batman. So they're changing it up and the quickest way to change it up is to jump ahead 10 years and kind of change some of the environment that she's in.
Exactly. So this could be the problem.
Well,
they usually do this because of complaints and not getting a lot of buying. You know, people. You know,
same people are on the book. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And see what it is. So
I mean, you know, I like it. I mean, so I'm fond of the book. To be quite honest, I've jumped off all the Bat books, and this is one of the Bat books I do enjoy.
Right. So I guess we'll see where it goes. See what it is when we get to it. Alrighty, you know DC books. I've got one other one that I read.
I don't have any more.
Wildstorm.
I did read Wildstorm.
Okay.
I forgot to consider that one.
So, what y'all think of Wildstorm?
I love the opening scene. That was a favorite.
Well, I think the first page is awesome just because, of course, you know, it's two ladies after their fun. That great Wonder Woman.
So then, are they?
A favorite mine.
Are they saying they live in the world with these superheroes, or are they saying that they're in the real world and it's just like us? They would have Wonder Woman sheets.
I don't know. How do you want to take that?
That's what I've been trying to figure out because of this whole discussion of the two groups, and they're saying we're so secretive, other people don't know about us, other governments, and I'm thinking other superheroes. Then I could see that being part of it, but
I don't think so. I don't think there are. I don't think Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all that stuff operates in the Wildstorm.
Okay.
I mean, clearly in the past they had a time when Grifter was running around in the DC universe when they had some of the New 52, like with that weekly the weekly book I didn't get that kind of went into the future and into the past and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think that's just them having fun.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, like I have a Batman bed sheet behind me. I think it's more of that. Clearly, they are having way more fun with their sheet than I'm having with mine. But nothing personal. But
but
it makes sense for you because you actually lived in Gotham for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I want to skip to the very end about her saying she owns Cash. And what's up with that? She says she owns them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, until Kanesha, I said hello, and I was like, "What? Let's rewind because I don't know anything about any of this at all." So please, someone who knows the history of all this, please tell me, explain, give me the deets, okay? Because I need to know.
Well, I think that's what we're gonna find out. I think that I like that reveal because it's one more layer to all these characters. I mean, first off, the first surprise is these two are talking to each other. I mean, they're like,
that was a surprise.
He's like crazy. He's probably like a crazy rogue fringe element that knows all this stuff. These two groups are right.
He's double agent one.
And then she's there warning him. I mean, and clearly she understands the gravity of her position because she goes around and wipes out people who, I mean, the first issue, right? It was her wiping out somebody who had kind of flirted with the technology that they have. I mean, so so they had this surprise visit at the end there of her chatting with with Cash is interesting. So clearly they have some level of friendship. When she says she owns him, my guess, this is just my guess, is that she helped him get away, and so he really owes her, and so that'd be the equivalent of like I own you. I don't think it was the other kind of I own you, as in you're my man meat, and this is I don't think that's the way it is, but I don't know.
Okay,
that's one of the things I love. That's one of the things I love about this book is that every issue is informative. I mean, it builds on characters in some sense or another. And it's really kind of subtly very informative on these groups. I mean, because there's a lot to tell us about IO and Skywatch. I mean, I you know, because clearly we're just dumb humans, and these people are these brilliant. They got all this crazy stuff going on. So I think Warren Ellis is doing an awesome job of conveying every issue, more little pieces to just let us know how deep this all is. Of course, the very beginning, we get this whole, you know, scene between Jenny Sparks and this, you know, the Doctor character. So we get that there is a fourth group, right? So now we've got Skywatch, IO, this
the Wildcats,
group, and the Wildcats, and then we've got the kind of Jenny Sparks group, when she thinks there's this other group of, well, the planetary, right? I mean, typically, I think that's actually technically would be the planetary group of no, not planetary. What is it? The Stormwatch group? Aren't they I don't remember. I don't know this world well enough to name it, I guess. But you know, this other group, and I don't know if that group and the Wildcats will end up meeting somewhere to be a group, to be the in-between. But I love the idea of no one's watching out for the human race. We better do it because nobody else is. I mean, that's really interesting. We are 11 issues in. We've got 13 more issues. If this really just goes to issue 24, which I think the gauge there tells us that's what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah. The history they gave us right in the middle of it, though, too, in the black and white pages. It answered so many questions, too. Yeah, and it helped kind of fill in and really solidify what I knew about the universe. So I loved it for that reason.
Yeah. They kind of explained the treaty to us in a way, what the treaty means, what it means if you break the treaty. And of course, we've got, you know, right now there are people working on breaking the treaty. Well, both sides are working on breaking the treaty. You know, they're trying to gather, IO is trying to gather dirt on Skywatch, because they know Skywatch is pretty soon is going to come and slap them for having this rogue woman that's got the battle suit inside of her, because that's a no-no. That's technology nobody should be running around with. So they're trying to dig up dirt to prove that the Skywatch has been doing wrong stuff. So when they come at each other, they can kind of, it's a Cold War. They're trying to keep the stalemate going, basically, so one side doesn't get leverage and the war doesn't start. So, yeah.
Yeah, when Angie goes for that transformation and you see it just little by little, and it covered her in silver, and I'm like, but I really like the other outfit. Right. And then they show there's like a harder.
Right. Then she pops out the battle suit, and she's like, damn, I look cool. I love that. She's like, yeah, I look cool. I love that process. She's like, oh, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick. Well, then she puts all this, she took fluid out. She's putting fluid in, and all the fluid fits back in. She's like, huh. Well, I guess it's like when you put something back together again and all the screws going in. I'm thinking, no, that doesn't work that way with me, but you know, whatever. But yeah.
That girl's like pretty much not even human anymore. She just like what's the other girl's name? Angie?
The teleporter, yeah. The teleporter.
Pretty much not even human anymore. It's kind of sad, because you gotta. I felt for the girl, because like I felt like at one point, did she want to kind of be human? Like you got the feeling that she wanted to be back to normal. She was going.
I think she just didn't want to die, and she didn't want to be in pain. I think was what it was.
Yeah, but now, I guess she didn't want to be in pain, obviously. But I felt like she wanted to still kind of remain. She still wanted to keep her humanity. And
yeah, but now she looks cool.
She looks cool, but yeah, I think she's sort of coming to terms with the fact that she has to modify herself to survive.
Yeah,
and she has to out for herself with these modifications to survive.
Is she gonna leave now? I mean, she thanks what's his face, Milo or whatever the heck his name is, for all the weird tools he's not supposed to have. It almost made it sound like that she was leaving. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I really like the comic. The comic is just feels very well informed. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other DC books? I haven't got any other DC books read.
I do have one additional one that I'd like to talk about. Aquaman. This is technically last week. But for those people that were enjoying the Sedgwick art, what was it? Federici is also, I think, just about as strong. Of course, it's Sedgwick on the cover. But when you look inside the, I don't know, the pencilings or watercolorings, whatever he does, is just very strong. We do have King Shark in here. Aquaman is is trying to be a Batman for Atlantis. He's trying to strike out. He's been dethroned, and they're supposed to have killed him. So he was striking back from the dark, deep parts of his Atlantis. And now they're just starting to figure out that maybe it is Aquaman. The people are following behind him. They said the king is back, and he's like, I don't want to be the king. I just want to be a hero. Yeah. And so they're trying to figure out, how do you get an uprising? How do you get these people to follow him without him being the king? And then we find out that Mera has come to save him, and the witches who are in control of the magic say, in our premonitions, we were wrong. It's not you who are the king. It's her that's the queen.
Nice. Cool.
And as the hero, you have to sacrifice your love for her. You will be the hero, and you will leave when this is done, and she will be the queen.
Oh.
So I just love it. I mean, there was lots of great characters. I didn't know about Dolphin. I guess I heard recently that she's been a character for quite a while.
Yep.
Yeah. People in like the lowest wards are transformed, so they look like sharks, like crabmen, all that kind of stuff. But they're the unwanted people of Atlantis, right, because everybody should be beautiful.
The Untouchables, right? They're kind of like the Untouchables from India. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to say, I mean, if people were enjoying it with Sedgwick but jumped off, come back. This art is nearly as strong, if not as strong, as Sedgwick's, in my opinion. And the writer is still the same, so it's still this really great story.
Cool. It sounds cool now. It sounds cool.
Yeah. And I think the Sedgwick trade has just come out. So if people do want to read it, you know, that was beautiful artwork. So.
Well, cool. I can't remember what I read last week to talk about the books I read last week as far as DC books go. I'm sure I read some.
Well, there would have been a Batman one.
Well, right. I'm trying to think. I've been liking Batman. Oh, is the Batman with Wonder Woman in it?
All right.
Yeah, which got some people bent out of shape. So
I didn't hear hardly anything about it. So
yeah, so the whole Batman's engaged to Catwoman and all. But at any rate, so in it, Wonder Woman shows up. It starts out with Gordon. He's talking with Barbara on the phone. He looks out the window and he sees the bat signal going off. And Gordon's the only person that's supposed to throw the switch. So he's like, I gotta go. And he's storming up the stairs and he goes, I told you, he's yelling at all the policemen around him. I told you nobody turns that thing on except for me. Whoever this is, I'm literally gonna kill whoever it is that turned that thing on. He gets up there and it's Wonder Woman standing there, and she's like, I want to talk to Batman. And he's like, stumbling all over himself to walk back. I'm gonna kill whoever it is that turned it on. And she goes, I want to talk to him alone. And Gordon's like, well, great. When he gets here, I'm sure you could probably arrange that. And she's like, he's standing right behind you. It's like, they leave and he's like, you could have just called me on the communicator. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I thought this would be more fun. She's kind of messing with him. Well, I guess they've sometime in their past, they ended up in a dimension with some warrior guy who's fighting like an internal battle. And at some point they said, hey, if you ever need a break, we'll come and take over for you. So you can get a break, you can come back and take over again. And she's like, and Wonder Woman's like, it's time. He said that, it's time. Now's the time to do it. So Batman, they go back to the Batcave. Batman gets literally all armored up, like physical, like plate mail kind of thing, and a sword. And Catwoman is laughing at him, thinking that he's ridiculous. And Wonder Woman's like, okay, you're not ridiculous. Okay, maybe a little ridiculous. You're right. They're kind of picking on him. But they go to this dimension, and the reason Batman and Wonder Woman are going is because their superpowers don't work there. And so, because you'd think, well, duh, Superman would be the person to send. But the powers don't work. And Superman, whereas he relies on all of his superpowers, when it comes to just straight actual fighting, Wonder Woman and Batman are the best fighters. So they're the ones that are going. So they go there to fight this eternal battle. The eternal battle guy comes back there and he hangs out with Catwoman. Catwoman's like, gets him some clothes and kind of gets him some food and whatnot. So Catwoman's having a conversation with this eternal warrior guy, while Batman and Wonder Woman are fighting forever in this other realm. I guess the Eternal Wear guy has got like a wife in the real world, you know, which is a surprise to Catwoman. And she's like, oh, okay, you know, they're going to go see him. And she's like, wait, how long have you been, you know, Batman said you've been fighting for eternity, like thousands of years. And he's like, yep, I have been fighting for thousands of years. And she's like, well, how long have you had this job then? And how can you have a living wife if you've been doing, oh, I've only been gone a year. So time in this other place goes a lot longer than in the out. And she's like, wait a second. So she starts doing the math. By the end of the issue, because it's, you know, it's just, it goes back and forth between the two. Batman and Wonder Woman fighting, you know, them having their conversation. You find out that in the like couple hours that this guy has been in our world, 10 years have gone by for Batman and Wonder Woman. And they're starting to think he's never coming back. And it's just the two of them there for forever. So at the very end of it, it's Wonder Woman and Batman. And Wonder Woman's going, it's just us, you and me forever. And there's like this moment where they look like they might be getting ready to kiss or something. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I totally get there's one side of it. God damn it. Wonder Woman should be something besides the person that the guys fight over or pine over and whatnot. But I personally am a Wonder Woman Batman shipper. I mean, if Wonder Woman's gonna date or have any relationship with any other superhero dude, like in the Justice League or something, it's Batman or it's nobody. I hated the whole Wonder Woman Superman thing. Hated that.
I always saw her with Plastic Man.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But so I totally get the, Wonder Woman shouldn't be that. But at the same time, they've been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, neither one of them are horrible on the eyes as far as, you know, looks. They respect each other, all that kind of stuff. 10 years of that. I don't know. I don't personally have a problem with it because of that. I can see, like I said, especially with how bad the Wonder Woman book is right now, how they're treating her in that book, where she is basically a piece of meat. I get if you're a Wonder Woman fan, just being pissed about, you know, got this great movie, got this great energy, and look at the crap you're doing with her. So I get that end of it. I actually like the story. The only thing that worries me is this how they're going to screw up? Is this how they screw up their engagement?
The marriage.
There being another woman?
Yeah. Well, now, the thing is, do they age there, or it's just 10 years of immortality?
They don't seem to have aged. I mean, it's not like suddenly Batman's got gray sideburns of her. At one point, though, they're sitting there, and she's talking about how, and she's like, yeah, you don't look that ridiculous. Again, because that keeps coming up in the conversation about the fact that he does not look that ridiculous. And it's him shirtless, and he's shaving himself with a hatchet, you know, like the blade of it. You know, look all manly. I wish I had the book here so I could show you. It's pretty hilarious. But, I mean,
he needs to grow the beard.
At no point, exactly. Why isn't he growing the beard? At no point did they show Wonder Woman in that as being eye candy. But he is definitely, you know, the muscle flex. You know, it's I don't know. So, but like I said, that worries me. It kind of buzzes me out if he's going to come back from having been in this place, and it's going to be, you know, 10 years later for them emotionally, and now there's the other woman. That's going to be that's going to feel uncomfortable. Hopefully, it's well written. It might be well written. I'm still going to be bummed. Just on a personal level, I'd like to see him happy. I know it's not going to work. I mean, I know it's not. You know, and how are they going to wreck it? This might be how they wreck it, but that's going to be really awkward, you know. And so then does that send Catwoman back in a tailspin to being more villain? You know,
so you think they won't get to the actual marriage then? You think they'll stop it before that?
Yeah, I don't see Batman actually getting married.
You have to have the marriage issue. That's always what sells the book.
Well, they'll put it on the cover acting like there's going to be a marriage, and then there won't be. Right? They'll show them like on top of a wedding cake.
Yeah.
You know, and then inside of it won't happen kind of thing, you know, because that's how that kind of stuff works. Jolene Jones art, so it looked good. It was dark, though. Jody Blair did the coloring on it, and because of the way it's set, because like the eternal world where they're eternally fighting, it's like always overcast and gray and lightning and, you know, really, really gothically romantic. But anyway, it's very dark, and in the Gotham, it's at night, so it's dark there too. So that'd be the one criticism of it. It was very dark looking, but still great art by Joey
The
Jones.
warrior at the end, was it Warlord?
No. Oh no.
Okay. All right. I thought I saw somebody post a picture of him recently, so I thought that's what it was.
No, I mean, no, because if it was Warlord, he would have to have the big silver beard and
the
no.
gun. Yeah, all right.
No.
Okay.
Wasn't that at all. No.
All right.
No. If it's a character that actually exists, it was somebody that I was unfamiliar with.
Okay.
But I mean, interesting story.
Yep.
But yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what's next for it.
All right.
At any rate, DC news. Oh my gosh! Speaking of news for DC, did you see the Justice League of America?
Yes, the groups.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. I thought some of those were awesome. I said, I saw the pictures and I said, boy, if those are actual books, I would probably buy some. And I'm like, and then I keep reading the Twitter. I'm like, oh my goodness, these are actually books they're going to do. Those are Snyder ones.
I wish I had it. Right. So Snyder, coming out of the whole metal stuff, gets to kind of continue to do whatever the hell he wants to do in the DC universe, it seems. So he is taking over the Justice League of America and the Justice League books, doing this spin out thing. And there's like there's pictures out there, so go check them out. There's 3 different groups. They're color coordinated.
Yeah,
which drives me crazy first and foremost, because no, please don't do that. One of the groupings is really cool. Actually, 2 of the groupings are kind of fun, and 2 of the groupings are for me are stupid as hell, and I don't get it. So one of the groupings has got it's got Damian in it, Robin, and the Flash, and Harley Quinn, and I want to say Sinestro, but maybe not.
The first group. I'm trying to see. Oh, Damon. All right. So that one is the Flash. Is it the Atom, Harley Quinn, and Cyborg?
Yes. Dumb. That's a dumb group. Makes no sense at all. Right. Why would those people be grouped together for any reason? Dumb.
Because I guess that's my question. It's the Atom's like assistant? Is that right? When you saw,
yeah, I think so.
All right.
Okay, what's the next group? Because that group's dumb.
All right, there's the Magic group, the purple.
Wait, they're red, right?
They're red, yes, they're red.
Okay, the purple
even
group
Cyborg,
right. The purple group rocks. The purple group, I would read that book all day long because it's all magic people. Go ahead.
Magic, yep. So that's Etrigan, that's Zatanna, that's Wonder Woman, Dr. Fate, and Batgirl.
Is that Batgirl?
I
don't remember.
Maybe it's Enchantress. It might be Enchantress. It was the purple that made me think Batgirl.
At any rate, that group's gonna rock. That looks like tons of fun.
Yeah.
Except Snyder's writing it all. So anyway, what's the next one? The next one, I'm all on the next one. Next one is blue, right?
It's
kind of a purple color too, isn't it?
Purple, yeah, because it's Lobo, Beast Boy, Batman, Luthor, and
I hate that one. I hate that
Deathstroke. All right.
I hate that one. That one's dumb as nails too. What the hell's up with that?
And they all have like these glowing belt buckles or Iron Man, whatever.
Yeah. Yuck.
All right.
The last one.
Then
I like this one.
The true Justice League.
Yes.
Superman, Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Sinestro, Starfire, and Starro.
Yes. See, I'd read that book too. I have no idea what's going on.
It's kind of like when they put Galactus on a team.
Yeah. So, anyway, this is some spin out of metal. It's the next whatever. I tell you the truth, I'm not interested. I don't know that I'm interested in reading Snyder anything anymore. I'm a hater. Whatever.
I always think that whenever I'm just a hater.
Oh, but I'm curious.
No justice.
I am curious. So I want to hear more. I just don't know if I want to read more. It's like a weekly book, though, isn't it?
I think depending on how each of those hit, yeah. So it might be like a couple of. minis or one shots.
So, and I don't know. I don't know. Is this going to just be a temporary little thing? See, my understanding is that this is going to be like a monthly little shot, and then he's going to take over one of those titles regularly or something. Possibly Snyder will. I don't know. I have to admit, I haven't been super excited with Priest's Justice League. I'm going to be dropping. I'm finishing this arc out, and then I'm done with Justice League again because this hasn't really been as exciting as what I wanted it to be. So I don't know. I don't know about all that. It sounds expensive for what I possibly think I'm going to get. And like I said, two of those groups to me just make no sense at all. I don't get why you'd pair those people up. I mean, the Magic group makes all kinds of sense, or those groups should be more spread out so you get more of everything in each group if that was the case. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think some of them are specialized. So yeah, Snyder says coming out in May. Someone else mentioned they were minis. I think the artist is really what's going to make the difference for me because I don't want to look at a lot of crap art no matter how great the story is. So
well, I'm not excited by any of those. Whoever did the art for those promo pieces, I don't care for that either. To be quite honest. So we'll see what that's going to be like going up. But that was one of the big news things.
All right, the artist, I think there's a big old JIM or JM with a cross.
Oh, Jim Lee. That's Jim Lee, right?
That's what I'm guessing. So I'm trying to.
Well, then it'll be so delayed. It'll be so delayed. It'll be stupid.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure. Is that a cross with a J and an M, or is that JIM? That's the signature. So.
Okay. Hey, that's not Jim Lee, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know. Other things along those lines, I hear that Doomsday Clock is delayed for another month or 2 months, and then it's going bi-monthly every other month. The more ads that have been in the back of your DC books, if you've been watching, like the Immortal Men have been in there, and some of the other new line that are coming out of the Dark books. Well, Immortal Men is in half the books right now, being advertised as coming out basically next month. It is now delayed for like 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. Welcome to trying to read a Jim Lee book.
Yeah.
The guy either has too many duties or has forgotten what it's like to actually be responsible enough to hit a deadline. So I won't buy a book he's on. Not a monthly book. That's the wrong kind of inconsistency. I'm okay with breaks. Like I said, all of my independent comics take breaks. I'm fine with those because they are generally organized and planned breaks. Not this, well, we can't make our deadline, so we're just going to not put a book out until we feel like it. That is pure punishment to those of us who buy in single issues.
Yeah, I felt I got a good burn on that one with when he was doing Suicide Squad.
Yeah. For me, it was Superman Unchained.
Okay.
9 issues, and it took 18 months to get out. So
yeah, and one of the pictures said somebody commented they thought it was Francis Manapool who did the art.
Yeah, I know that Francis. I heard that he was somehow involved. I don't know though.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess see when it comes out.
Yeah.
Anything else? What else got in there? Any other DC news?
Not that I can think of right offhand. No.
Cool. Yeah, I can't think of anything either. Alrighty. Move on to some independent books.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to talk about first, Russ?
Let's see. I really, really, really enjoyed. Can we talk about something from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill or Be Killed.
Last week. Kill or Be Killed last week.
I've been talking about it so much.
That's because you have to talk about the lizard people. I almost named the show The Wrath of the Lizard People.
I've been obsessed. I'm obsessed with the book. Oh my God.
Wait.
I've been absolutely loving it. So, what I really loved about this particular issue, and what is it? It's on 19? What?
It was 17, wasn't it?
17? Okay.
17. I'll look while you're talking.
Okay. It's a book written by Edgar Baker, illustrated by Sean Phillips. And it's also recently been, was it they're going to pilot it for a film, correct?
Yes. They're in the,
Yeah, but it's dealing with a guy named Dylan who he's dealing with
issue 15.
15. Okay, we're a little bit off, but yeah, he's dealing with what seems to be a mental illness that you know, he sees some kind of demon that his father drew as a, you know, that, you know, in his art, it was in his artwork, depicted in his dad's artwork that he saw as a child. We're finding out that apparently this demon haunted his brother, and apparently it's like some kind of familiar curse.
Well, they call it the family curse. He's calling it the family curse.
Yeah, he's calling it family curse.
If that makes sense, right?
Yes, makes sense. Yeah, but anyways, in this particular issue, he's found himself in a, you know, checked in involuntarily, and he is telling us how he got checked in here. It's always in each issue seems to be where he's you know, he's kind of just relaying to us, you know, hey, this is how it happened, you know, haphazardly. Hey, this is, you know, hey, I got here, no big deal. And you know, we're first, you know, we're introduced to this guy named Fenton, and Fenton is talking about big businesses, and he's talking about how big businesses want us all separated, you know, two groups. He's like, hey, you know, they want us you know, separated. They don't want us, you know, they want people kind of at each other's throats. They don't want us, you know, working together. You know, he says, but then, you know, Fenton starts kind of getting off the tracks, and he starts kind of doling out and talking about the lizard people. This is where Fenton goes off, and, you know, his point starts kind of not really making sense. And that's when people kind of think Fenton is a little crazy, and then we kind of start finding out exactly how Dylan got into the facility. We start finding out that, you know, after Dylan went after the Russian mob boss, that he was having a hard time adjusting, that this demon was coming at him even more, that the daily stresses of trying to ignore this demon was really hard for him, that him and Kira's relationship was becoming more strained because of his you know, ability to ignore this demon.
Well, yeah, even his right, because even his meds aren't working anymore. Where it used to be his meds he thought was drowning out the demon, now it doesn't matter how he adjusts his meds, this demon's like always walking around going, hey, you know, that guy's a rapist. That guy, you know, that guy cheated on his girlfriend. You know, that guy kicks puppies. Let's kill him. Yeah, let's kill this guy. Let's kill that. Yeah.
It was hard for him to kind of like put it off, and so he just kind of felt like it was coming to a climax. You could see where it was just really getting hard for him. So it was one, you know, he found himself wanting to profess what was going on with him to Kira after, you know, them having, you know, a night together, and the demon revealed to him, hey, Mason's outside the door.
But the shitty roommate who was dating his girlfriend basically used to be a jackass. Yeah.
And then so right when he's opening his mouth about to tell Kira what's going on, Mason is at the door, just like the demon told him, and oh my God, hell breaks loose. And that's how he ends up in the facility.
Because he about beats you know, Mason. So like, what's crazy is about the time you think that he's just crazy and the demon isn't really there, then the demon gives him information that's somehow factual, whether or not he's just making himself think that that's the case. Like, because like Dres says, he's going to spill the beans about the fact he's this, you know, he's the vigilante, and, you know, and he sees the demons and all that. The demon points out this thing that's happening. He didn't know, but he kicks open the door, and there's Mason at the door listening, right?
Yeah.
So is the demon real, or is he schizophrenic?
Exactly. This book is so good. It's like you're always left wondering, is this guy crazy? Is he absolutely off his rocker? Or is this demon somehow real? Like, you don't know. Like, you really, and you know what? It was one book by Christopher Sabella. I can't recall the name right now, but I was reading it for a while. And I really did like that book, but it just didn't have that same edge that Kill or Be Killed has. It just was missing something a little bit. This book has it.
And then at the very end of it, there's a bomb gets dropped at the end of it. Because Dylan decides, you know what, the only way he's going to mentally get better is if because he's setting a group therapy. I'm gonna tell the group therapist what's real. You know, there's a demon set in here. So he starts off, there's a demon here. He makes me kill these people. I am the vigilante. I am the red mask vigilante guy. And they're looking all concerned to start with. And then the guy that's, you know, the professional that's listening to him starts to kind of laugh. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's professional of me. He's like, what the hell are you laughing? I just told you I'm this killer. That's not funny. And he goes, well, it's a cute story, but you know, if you don't want to really participate, you don't have to. You know, don't make stuff up. And he's like, I'm not making up. What are you talking about? And the guy goes, look, you couldn't have, because last night 3 more people were killed by the vigilante.
Exactly. And that was
Dylan's been sitting in lockup for a week. So he was the vigilante.
Yeah, the copycat killer going about. So this book is just, like I said, too good. It's just so good. And actually, I was talking to you about it. I was like, I don't know why, but it spurned my I don't know why I forgot all about this other book by Jonathan Hickman, Black Monday Murders, because you know, like right when Killer Be Killed would come out, we had Black Monday Murders coming out, and I loved that book even more actually because it had more intrigue for me. Which is I feel it had a little bit more interest, a little more intrigue.
And that book has disappeared off the solicitations and whatnot. Yeah,
really, I don't know what's going on, and I even said I said I noticed they started becoming less and less hardy, and I think they were taking a break, and I called it. Nobody was listening to me.
What? Did you say something?
Nobody was listening to me.
yeah. Well, hopefully that comes back too. I don't know. Killer Be Killed is a super strong book. Curious about the whole movie thing though. If they do a movie of it, I don't know what to think of that. So I won't venture off into that. I'll just read my fun comic book and enjoy it. But yeah, it's a pretty amazing book. There's nothing about it.
I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. The film doesn't, not the show, but the film doesn't. You know, who do you think will play Dylan? Because I hope they pick a nobody. Like I
want the whole thing to be nobodies. I want to be quite honest. I want all of it to be people I have no idea who they are.
Exactly. I want it to be complete nobody. So like I'm tired of them picking these famous people. Like, you know, honestly,
it'll be Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now.
I've never liked Ben Affleck. You know what? I'm sorry.
What?
Nope, I don't like him. Nope, don't like him. Sorry.
We're gonna lose Rez here in a second.
Hashtag not her Batman. Yep.
Okay.
Don't like him.
That's cool. I was just joking. I don't care one way or the other. So.
You know what? Anyway. Honestly, all these famous people, it's like I can't even watch Netflix sometimes because all these famous people come on and you're like, they did something. Like all this stuff is going on right now in the.
Oh yeah, as far as their behavior, yeah.
Yes, it's like they're like honestly, it's kind of getting
like as soon as you have power, you become a scumbag.
Yeah, it's like I can't watch this comedy special right now. I cannot do it because like who doesn't?
I really want power so I can be a scumbag too. So somebody help me out there somewhere.
give him money.
Give me the that's right. Let me win the lottery. Let it wreck my life, please.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like an old wizard in a subway.
I would do that too. Shazam!
It's so crazy though because like I felt bad because as soon as you like I was as soon as I had clicked on what was this, a master or none or something like that, and then also I saw on Twitter Aziz Ansari. I was like, what did he do? What? I can't watch this show now?
He's a really shitty date.
Yeah, really shitty date. I'm like, goodness gracious, I can't watch anything.
Yeah, yep.
Everybody.
Well, that's just like there's I believe there are plenty of and lots of really excellent and good people out there. It's just we unfortunately hear about the people who do bad stuff. There's some awful people working in comics, but there are also lots and lots of awesome people working in comics too. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like,
Mike, got any books you want to talk about?
My solo book is Manifest Destiny. We are on issue number 33. I think
I tell you right off the bat, I'm disappointed in the cover now that you told me.
Yeah. We see our Weasley little subject here. Travis was hoping he was being drowned. Unfortunately, he's being baptized. So,
and he didn't just like instantly burn and fall into hell.
Oh,
no. This book is all kinds of disappointing.
Yeah, they have a chaplain who's evidently not a very good chaplain, because they were asking, does he even know the whole book? And they're like, no, he's read enough parts though to get everybody in a fever.
Nice. You're a book about Jesus, weren't you?
So the Lewis and Clark have made a pact with Sacagawea. She is pregnant and has just recently had her child. And the other lady who helped her in childbirth thinks there's something going wrong, that Sacagawea doesn't want anything to do with the child, and Lewis and Clark seem very interested. So she's very upset about why this is all going on. They find a dead body outside the fortress, and what had happened, there was a whole issue all in French. And nice. My French, even after 4 years of it in high school, is horrible. Because I only went for the trip where we got to eat at the French restaurant. So I know un momento. But so, unfortunately, I followed along with the art though. So it was easy to tell. This woman hated a guy who was a soldier who attacked her, but she's still with the group. And so he goes out to the forest to give food, and everybody in the trip hates him. And on the way back, Sacagawea had given this girl these 2 claws from a creature, and she starts raking on them, tearing them apart, and then she leaves. And in the snow, she leaves little footprints, and then this guy's dead body. Lewis and Clark know what's going on, and they tell the lady who helped out with the birth, we know what's going on, and Sacagawea could be put to death for that. But we're going to reveal the information. The reason why Sacagawea is so important is her child needs to be sacrificed to this evil power to keep the bad people inside the arches and keep us outside the arches. And
Sacagawea knows that?
Yes. That's she, and so she's already written it off. It is a child of the white race and of her Indian race. So it was of 2 opposing forces, is how she put it. She didn't want the child, and so that's kind of how this all has been involved. This story continues to be great. They're still in a fort in South Dakota because of the winter, and the chaplain has now whipped everybody into a fever, and they are turning on Lewis and Clark. They don't want any more of these gates. They don't want any more monsters. They just want to leave. And so it'll be interesting to see how we turn the tide after this.
And where are they at? Are they still in the Dakotas?
Yeah, just in probably in that touching part of South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, and Nebraska, because they're in Sioux country, but they don't mention the Sioux tribes. It's some other very small tribes. I had to read up on them, Wikipedia, and then I found out, yes, they're basically Sioux tribes. So they're somewhere in my area.
Cool.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I haven't gotten rid of that guy yet, so I'm not jumping on yet.
Yeah, I'll mail you that issue when it comes.
Awesome. I'm hoping he dies in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. I hope they drag him there, right?
The Nez Perce can take him out or something. I don't know. I'm gonna talk Southern Bastards.
All right.
I was trying to get to that issue.
Issue number 19. Oh shoot! I wish you would have read it, because I'm curious about the art done by all the same people. Looks just a little different. I don't know. But an excellent issue. We deal with the whole, the other county that they're playing football against, and the fact it looks like the boss is kind of like sold out to him or whatever, and the team's getting whooped, and you think that they're all lost, and the Rebs are folding and all of that, and it kind of ends up not being the case. It was called kind of like a sucker to get the other drug lords to not be paying attention, and then they let them have it, kind of a thing. Tubbs's daughter is in this issue. She finally gets boss at gunpoint. You think, yeah, finally going to happen. And then you're also thinking, wow, what happens to this comic if they gun him down? I mean, he's the nemesis. I mean, does it end if that happens? And then something right at the very end of the issue goes really crazy. I won't spoil that part of it, but great to have it back. But there's one issue, and then they go on break to start the next arc, right? It's like, God dang it. They've been having all kinds of, I mean, these guys have been having all kinds of medical issues, deaths in the family, lots of stuff that legitimately would, would slow down the production and whatnot. I don't mind, that stuff and whatnot, but at the same time, it's like, dang it, because I want to get back on, really reading the book, get it out in a timely fashion so I can really get into it. I enjoy it, but I'm not in it like I am some books that come out consistently that really get you wrapped up into them and whatnot. So, yeah.
Plus, isn't Aaron's writing a whole bunch of Marvel stuff? I mean, he's doing Thor, and then he's doing a lot of those, anything that they do with the big spin-offs or series.
Yeah, he writes quite a few books. I mean, he's writing, I know he's writing 2 or 3 Marvel books. He's writing this. I know they're working on the next arc of The Goddamned. Okay. So, I mean, I think he's got, quite a few things going.
Who does the art on The Damned?
Guerrera.
Okay.
Mia Guerrera. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I just, what is to get back to some level of consistency so I can start really getting into it again. Yeah. So, what else, Rez? What else do you want to talk
about? Let's see. Evolution.
What's that?
Evolution.
Oh, last week I was trying to think. Evolution we're talking about.
Oh, I was like, evolution.
I thought she was speaking French.
Yeah.
Amuse bouche. I was like, yeah, I like that.
Oui.
Oh no, I was gonna say,
I like my hamburger with cheese. What? Yes, Evolution issue number 3, right?
Yes, that word.
Yes. Oh, that book is awesome.
I know. I love it. Oh my God. You know what? The reveal with Abe and his wife on the phone. And she's like, he carried anthrax in his pocket. What the? Oh my Lord. This dude is unhinged. Beyond unhinged. Like, oh my God. I love this dude. I have to say, he's my favorite character. I know we're not supposed to like Abe. I know we're not supposed to like him.
Well, I don't know that we're not supposed to not like him. I mean, he's the kind of right. He's the kind of overdriven, dedicated scientist that has the vision to see what is coming before everybody else does. So he seems crazy because he keeps talking about this pandemic of some living organism that's invading everybody's bodies and evolving people into, I don't know what. I don't know if it's those icky little globby things that were chasing him out of the parking garage, or I'm trying to find it on my app here so I can at least have the book downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, we see so much of him. It's hard not to like the guy. Like, I mean, like the nun, we see a lot of her too, but
I like her.
I like her, but I have to say I like Abe a lot more because I'm like, this dude obviously is so dedicated to the movement of trying to get people to understand about this disease, And he obviously his attention was very.
Yeah.
It started off. Yeah, it started off good, but it just developed and it evolved.
Yeah.
and it evolved into something much more. The evolution of his attentions.
Yeah, it is such a it's such a good book. I really like it. Infera's art with Boyd doing colors just do a fabulous job because as it shifts between characters, the lighting basically, for lack of a better way to describe it, changes color. So you've got the lesbian couple who are dealing with the fact they may literally have a snuff film with an alien creature on it tearing somebody up. I mean, it looks like basically if you saw a real life version of The Thing, Carpenter's The Thing is kind of what this is, is what The Thing is what it looks like, but they legitimately think it's real. I mean, they are trying to talk themselves out of it. you know, there's a big discussion between the two of them about this guy that wants to collect it's going to kind of pay them hush money to shut up and give the film, and they'll be out of their debt and can live their lives. One of them is for it. One of them does not want to have that kind of pressure on them. You know, their stuff is lit a certain way. The nun who is infected herself, you know, she wants to like go explore what's going on, why this man came to them. You know, hers is all lit in a certain way. The doctor's is lit in a certain way. Am I missing one? Is there just 3? No, there's 4.
Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's the lesbian couple, the nun, Abe, and I think that's about it.
Is there just 3?
Yeah, I think it's just 3. No, it's 4.
There's 4. What's the other one?
Who's the 4th one?
I don't remember right now. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Jeez. But anyway, I just really love the book. You know, they call it body horror. I guess it is because this infection. I mean, it makes oozes and tentacles and stuff like that. But I don't know. I really like it. The art on it sets such a mood and such a tone, you know, to it that really gives that kind of poorly lit, creepy going on all the time in it and whatnot. I just really, really, really enjoy it for sure. For sure. Mike?
Was that your digital copy? Was that what you were showing?
No, back off. No, that's my CLZ app. Let's not get carried away.
Okay.
I do digitally organize my comics.
All right.
So when I'm out and about, I don't buy second copies of things.
Yeah. So one step away, you could have a paper pen.
Oh, please.
Sir. Double dipping?
No, not even that. No.
All right. No. Get us back on track. Black Magic was probably the best book I read this week. So
Black Magic.
I love the interaction between her familiar cat and the hunter. Of course, none of it we can say out loud.
Right.
Very adult.
Lots of F-bombs. The cat.
Yes,
the cat. Yeah. Get the beep out of my beeping house. Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out at first because I almost thought the cat didn't want to be there, but as I read more and more, I mean, no, he's protective of his mistress, and the hunter doesn't really seem to want to hunt or kill. Yeah.
Yeah, all the cat's weird bubbles are in this kind of translucent green. Cat can't seem to do anything. The cat's a familiar. The cat can't seem to actually other than cuss at him.
Yeah, when he pulled that gun on him, though, I was like, "Well, this might get interesting." But no. Yeah,
right.
He just cusses him out. The interaction at the hospital, where we get more and more of these evil witches or demons or creatures. Tense. There's more information with that. As the lady tells the older couple, like, pleasure yourself, and she just starts pleasuring herself on the couch.
Right.
To the woman, and the guy's looking at her.
Right. They're in the waiting room. There's the old grandma couple are talking about this is their 3rd grandchild or whatever. And one of our evil, people here, I love the way they look. She's got like purple eyes. Are just kind of listening and answering and just kind of whatever. And the grandma's going on and on as older people do who are proud of their grandchildren and stuff. And she's being disruptive at some point. She's like, she's talking about how, people thinking they have to have their babies in hospitals, blah, blah. And she's like, the leader of this kind of occult strangeness comes in and she says, she goes, pleasure yourself. And then all of a sudden, all you can hear in the background is the grandmother going, oh yeah. And they're talking about this. They're talking about this present, this gift they're going to be giving because Rowan Black, her partner, of course, our wife is pregnant and she's having a baby. And they're going to do something potentially to the baby or give them this present and whatnot. And as they're leaving, she's like, the head person's like, oh, and by the way, that woman's making a scene. And it's literally, it has the old grandma. She is humping the arm of the chair in the waiting room of the paternity ward.
Oh,
her shirt's pulled up and she is just going at it. And they leave her. They don't stop her. And that's it. She's left out of control. Yeah.
Out of control. No. Yes, that's about right.
We we see Rowan's other witch friend decides to make contact with the hunters to see what's going on there. It shows there's somewhat of a truce between them because they didn't go like for instant kills, and he's like, he goes, we don't really kill like that, and it's like,
we don't hunt that way, and we don't burn people at the stake, and
goes, if that religiously makes you feel better that you don't do it that way, and he goes, well, we also don't mind control people and all that. And so it was a very good discussion between the two. And then of course it leads us back to the hospital where Rowan is going to visit Morgan, her partner, and we see what develops with the cult or witches or whatever.
Like I love this panel just because everything's nice and clear except for our evil people. They're blurry. I mean, it looks like literally like they like they warped the screen. Like if we were looking at this digitally or something, it looks just the way these two, my camera doesn't pick it up, but then visually they're interesting. They look like some sort of a warble, and that's when she freaks to, oh no, something bad's going to happen. And of course, something bad looks like it is going to happen. The head of this little,
I'm guessing it's like a glamour that's on them.
Yeah,
like Rowan's eye, you see that touch of purple, which once again, the coloring on how they do this only adds to it. Unlike Witches, the Snyder book, the way they do some of the stuff is very smart, and at least I really appreciate how they work it in.
Yeah, because normally it's just these gray, gray tones and whatnot, and then when the magic happens, it's these little subtle, like this, little warm present that he gets that kind of freezes him and allows our other person to take the baby.
Yeah. It was just excellent. And the problem is I mean, these are pretty spaced out. So when you start reading, you have to remember what happened. I mean, was it 3 months ago?
And the next issue doesn't come out until March.
Yeah.
Which is a month break. I'm not sure why, but yeah. Yeah. Makes it tough for sure. I want to talk Abbott. This is a Boom Studio book. This is issue number 1. It's one of the books that Rez supposedly was reading there while we were talking Marvel and whatnot. And so the biggest reason I picked, one of the reasons I picked this up is it's written by the same person who writes Black Bolt, written by Sal Dinamade. So I was curious to see what else, he was producing. I'm really liking Black Belt, the stories being told there. So this story is set in like 1973, 74-ish Detroit. It's about Miss Elena here. She is a reporter. She has just gotten done writing a story about a white police officer that beat a 15-year-old black kid to death, police brutality. And her paper allowed her to print it. So people don't like her. The board of directors that runs the newspaper don't like her. They're giving lots of heat to her editor for allowing it to be printed. He's like, look, I don't like all this heat on me, but the truth is the truth. They're still in that era of reporting where the truth is what matters. At the end of the day, if it's a true story, it doesn't matter how bad or how painful it is. That's what should be told. They show up to this mutilation of a horse, of a police horse. Most of the people there, it's mostly white reporters, the white police department. They want to blame it on like the Black Panthers or some other quote unquote Negro movement. This is the era where old school people are still calling Negroes. 1973, 74 is the era where black is becoming the term that the people of color want used. So you get a lot of that kind of language in the book, which is interesting. I think that's all interesting stuff as far as keeping it within the era of it, even though we all here are young enough not to remember that. So I found all that kind of the language. It was good and it was interesting. So you're kind of exploring the culture change in Detroit during that era, or the attempt at culture change during that era. And also we find out that this woman has had some experience with the occult. she used to have a boyfriend who's from Senegal, right? I think it was Senegal. He gets snatched up by some tentacle eagle boogeyman, comes and gets him, and everybody else views it as you know, he died somehow, and she's kind of crazy. You know, she kind of lost it.
She called it the Umbra. It was like some weird clerk. Like what is this? Some kind of group or something? What was?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a you know, some sort of, you know, evil magic, basically. You know, evil spirit kind of stuff.
I imagine it was some kind of religious faction group or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But the horse's head, she gets kind of a flash of some weird thing about it. Then she gets called, you know, she goes about her day. Then she gets called to a murder. She shows up at the murder. It's the bottom half of a body. The top half of the body is completely gone of a black kid. Her ex-husband, I guess, works for the police department. And he kind of called her in because the police department's going to write it off as a suicide. I mean, literally, it is a corpse. And half the corpse is gone, and they're going to write it off as a suicide because it's just some black kid that nobody cares about, you know. And so he invites his ex-wife, the reporter, there so she can write about it, so it doesn't just become a suicide. But she sees some weird magic around it also, and she wanders off into an alley, and there's some bad stuff happening. Potentially in the alley is some monster, you know, or creature speaking some foreign language. Guy comes to get her at the end of it, and that's kind of where we're left at. We're left with this kind of crazy, oh my god, something's gonna get her, you know, this guy with a knife and speaking some weird dialect or whatever. I really like the book. I love the art in it. There's some great, we get lots of character on her, you know, her listening to music, the type of music she's listening to. She's constantly smoking cigarettes, all stuff of the era, the 70s, early 70s. Constantly smoking and whatnot. You know, she talks about her routine, all that stuff. Like this passage of time, I love this passage of time. You know, the article that she's writing, but these three panels of the ashtray filling up with more and more cigarettes. Perfect way to show us that a lot of time has gone by. So yeah, I really liked the issue. I thought it was really good.
I did too. I was saying that her and her boss obviously have something, like a little thing going on, because people keep referring to him and her and you notice how lax he was with her. So something happened between them at some point.
Maybe. You think so?
I don't know. I just feel like the dialogue. Yes, I kind of feel like they had something, you know, some kind of maybe it was an innocent kiss that kind of, you know, something happened. Maybe it was just like an innocent, you know, flirtation that turned, maybe they had drinks or something, but they know each other a little too well. More, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I read that into it. But definitely there's a respect to some degree there. Because she is writing the story. There is the
more like a work wife than a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get any more of that in there.
Okay. Well, I just get those feelings. So
okay. Well, like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's 4 issues. It's a 4-issue miniseries. I really enjoyed. I thought it was really interesting, really intriguing. I thought I did a good job of kind of setting the tone of 1973, 74, and then of course we had this kind of, you know, murder mystery, you know, kind of thing going on and whatnot. And like I said, I really liked the art.
Somebody in the shop tried to sell it to me as a black female John Wick. And it totally does not sound like they must have really been off on that book.
Wow.
No, I mean, other than you look at the cover. Oh, she looks like a badass. Yeah. That's as close as it gets to John Wick.
Yeah.
She doesn't kick anybody's ass or whatever. She is a strong, confident woman who does not take anything at face value.
You know what she's more like? I'm gonna tell you exactly what I kept thinking of the whole entire time I read this. The whole entire time I read this, I kept thinking of Halle Berry's character in Cloud Atlas.
That's okay.
Exact character. You know, Halle Berry's character, because you know, remember she was a journalist. That's what I kept thinking of. The exact character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, that really helps me out. Right.
Yeah.
That's No, there's no John Wick to this at all. That's somebody who did not read the book.
Yeah.
So it's a good book. I mean, first issue, I really enjoyed it. I said the art does a great job of tempo and showing time passage, like I said, and that sort of stuff. She seems like an interesting character. I like occult type mystery type things, so I'm curious about that. Plus, it's got this culture change that's going on and whatnot. I think it does a good job of playing that out. Not every white person is a complete asshole, but there are definitely plenty of them that she has to deal with. So I like all that. Her immediate boss, her immediate editor, is a World War II vet, and he's like, look, I didn't storm Normandy and get Nazi shrapnel in my ass, so we can hide the truth and not do things the right way. And so I like all that kind of stuff. I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff in it to immediately get us invested in her as a character and stuff. So yeah. So good stuff. Mike, you got any others you want to talk about?
One last one is The Realm. This is issue number 3 or 4. Oh. Sorry. I really enjoyed this, but I think it's covering a lot of genres. There are trolls and other creatures, so it is a bit of a mythical part. It is post-apocalyptic. Most of this is the world that we know, but now these creatures have kind of come forth and they're trying to take over. There's some magic in here, like the main bad guy has this Cthulhu gods that he gets power from. And then there's, definitely the elements that you see from post-apocalyptic Walking Dead, that there's a person who you can hire who helps get you to certain places. That guy has like something wrong with his arm. So once again, there's this other idea that now he's got an infection or something. It may be magical. It may be just a regular infection. So keeps playing on all these. And then he gets a scientist who has a mysterious object. And I'm thinking like, why the last man? Or in Walking Dead, there's the scientist who needs to get to a certain place because he's got a solution or a cure or an artifact. So, I mean, it definitely seems to touch on all these. There's a lot of action, as you see in here.
Love that cover. That cover is awesome.
That whole looks like my soul. Cthulhu, everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely, it's for somebody who's interested in starting something new, who isn't in The Walking Dead, who doesn't have all these, black magic, or the one with Mikey, who Birthright. It's like all these different ones it touches on, all wrapped up into one book. So, I mean, I was happy. I'm not covering any of those other books. I'm reading this one.
Cool.
And it's only 4 issues in, so I was able to jump into it. So
nice.
Yeah, and I think it was 26 pages too. I mean, there is a lot more than when I was originally counting, because I was thinking, all right, 22, 23 pages, but there was some extra.
Not good.
And then at the end, they always talk a little bit about like some music, some band that kind of inspires the artist. Like, listen to this while you're reading this.
Was that Me Like Bees?
Yes.
That's the name of the band? Me Like Bees?
Me Like Bees, yeah. So.
Good looking band.
Me Like Bees.
Yeah. Listen to the Me Like Bees next single, inspired by The Realm. So.
Oh.
Yep.
Cool. That's cool.
Available on iTunes, realcomics.com. Yep.
Nice.
So I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's definitely, they already have licensed products, so they're trying to sell you the helmet of that character on the front, and
well, that's pretty ambitious.
It is good. Yeah. But then again, I remember that the Toilet Monster book that I bought, they already had magnets and all that, and they've only got 1 issue out, but they have all this other merch to try and get you. Sure. So I don't know if issue 2 is ever coming out, but that one. But the Realm was good.
Yeah.
That was it.
Did you read Imaginary Fiends?
I did, good sir.
Issue number 3. I'm really liking this. The more we get into it, the more I'm really digging it. So we've got the aftermath of our young FBI girl who's 18, but her badge says she's 23. She went on a drunken bender the night before, so this is the next day. So she's all irpy and barfing stuff up because she's sick and stuff. So you got that going on. But the beginning of this, we get kind of a tale of creation, as it were. Oh, here we are in the soup of whatever. You're thinking, okay, this is your typical creation type story. You know, there was darkness and then became light, but this is the creation of some of our imaginary friends. It's the creation of course, what the heck is her name?
Polly Pocket.
Polly Peachpit, right? Polly Peachpit. It's Polly Peachpit and her love, Charlie Chokecherry. and we're kind of told this story about how they're equals and they're moving through their world where it's filled with all this imaginary stuff that this little girl who it was a little girl at the time. This is our main character. Melba Lee, right?
Melba Lee, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, so we get these great pictures of our monsters, basically our monstrous fiends, you know, with bears and having teacup, you know, teas and stuff like that. And Charlie and Peachpit are a couple, and then they start to, you know, the whole feeding on fear stuff goes on, and then Polly Peachpit becomes the favorite, and Charlie becomes kind of like a secondary concept, and then pretty soon he's nothing. He gets jealous of that and gets mad, tries to take out Peachpit, and then ends up getting thrown into the pit of the abyss or whatever, to be lost until the brother that we saw in the first issue of the girl that was almost killed comes across her diaries and journals and reads it and kind of attaches to him. So that's how we find out that, you know, Charlie Chokecherry, or what the heck his name is, it is all part of this, it gets refolded back into the world and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. The art seems stronger in this issue to me.
Yeah, it does. It's finding its footing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, her as a character, you know, her face and the other stuff that's going around it is interesting. The writing, the dialogue, all is really starting to become way more interesting. They figure out that this place that they're investigating, there have been multiple missing children in this place. They're still, of course, trying to figure out the whole big cat thing, because, of course, as we all know that watch the videos, the whole scandalous lapping, as I get in trouble for.
I was looking at
suckling at the giant cat's teats. There, you all seem to like that better.
Yeah.
Not sure. Anyway, so they're investigating that. They're getting kind of like a smoke screen from the ranger, and they don't know what's going on there as far as that goes. Our main FBI guy, he like pops like psychotropics or something. And he's like taking synthetic peyote to give himself this kind of weird high so we can kind of briefly see the imaginary fiends and what's going on. So he goes on this wild trip briefly, and they get captured. There's a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I mean, it's cool. I'm really liking it now. It's really interesting.
But he also trips upon a guy using chemicals to get rid of some evidence as well.
Right, to get rid of a dead body. Yeah.
So like some assets. So this is quite an interesting book. I'm really enjoying it. I actually enjoyed this issue the most out of all the issues, the previous issues, the two previous issues. So yeah, it's growing on me. I was almost ready to ditch the book a little bit because the first two issues weren't as strong, but this inspired me continuing on reading it.
Yeah. This definitely cemented it as an interesting story that I'm wanting to read. I'm now invested in everybody that's in it and what their take is on stuff and whatnot. Towards the end of it, Melba gets jumped by all the kids that were suckling on the cat. And they're all wearing plastic Halloween masks. They're cat masks. Yeah. As they dive onto them, and she discovers that one of them is Justin, the kid that's missing that everybody's been looking for. Kind of a thing. So that's all interesting. There's some emotional stuff in here too. Melba kind of relates with the latest kid that's disappeared. So there's some really interesting stuff there. I mean, as much as Polly Peachpit seems really sinister and evil and loves fear, but she likes all the emotions. And so she's almost sad herself and trying to relate with Melba. Why is it that Melba is so upset over this Justin kid disappearing? It's because, you know, she relates with Justin and stuff. And so I don't know, you almost feel like maybe, I mean, clearly Polly Peachpit's evil. I mean, Polly Peachpit convinced her to knife her friend a whole bunch of times and almost, you know, and either almost kill her or kill her, whatever. So clearly she's bad, but Polly Peachpit is doing it for, she just wants emotions. However those emotions happen, she feeds off of all of the different kinds of emotions. So whatever she can get, she'll take. That's how she survives, gets stronger, and continues to exist. Mm-hmm. So however that is happening. So it was interesting. It gave Polly Peachpit more depth beyond just being this kind of creepy spider lady thing, which is really cool and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Stay Puft, 1983 is saying that they're mad because their shop didn't have an issue of Imaginary Fiends. It's a bummer because it's good. Like I said, in this issue, for me, and I think for Rez too, as Rez was saying, was really, really, really. I mean, this issue really cements it as being a good story. So yeah. What else, Rez? What else do you want to talk about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes. Let's talk about Ice Cream.
Ice Cream Man.
Yes.
Right? Last week.
Yep.
Okay. You talk about it.
Okay. You read it too, right?
Oh yeah, I read it. I'm just curious as to how we're going to talk about it.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, that whole situation where we had a little boy, like ordering 2 scoops of ice cream, walking home with his little spider, taking his little clothespin.
So yeah, I have the variant cover, the Fraser Irving variant cover, which is a total head trip.
Yeah. I thought to myself, I was like, as soon as he put the nose clip on the little clothespin on his nose, I was like, okay, obviously someone's not keeping the house clean, and there has to be, I knew there was something sinister going on. Like either the house has a dead body in there, or either
I knew it was dead bodies. Yeah. So anyway, just to set the scene to start out with, there's the Ice Cream Man. He's, there's parents there, their kids, and he's, lickety split, getting everybody their ice cream, being all cute and whatnot. And this kid shows up. He's like, and the Ice Cream Man's like, well, hey, where's your parents? And he's like, oh, I'm here by myself. And he's like, right on, independent man. What can I get you? And he gets into the stuff. So the kid's all independent, walking along, licking his ice cream. And then it gets his front porch. He's finished off his ice cream. Yeah. And he pulls out a clothespin and puts it on his nose and steps into his house and says, hi, Rupert. Or was it Rupert? Byron? Rupert. I think it's Rupert. His pet spider. Well, the thing is while this scene is going on, there's like a narrator. There's like somebody telling us, the most deadliest spider in the world is the Brazilian blah, 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 genus name, whatever. And it bites you. And these are all the things that can happen to you. You can get really sick, clear up to dying from an erection. That's one of the things I'm like, and of course the kid, like I said, he's putting the clothespin on, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to see somebody who has died from an erection. I'm like, no.
And his parents like putrefied, just like completely like frozen. Mummified. Just completely
at the kitchen table. Yeah. They're like husks, like still eating their Cheerios or something.
Yes, completely just stuck in his one position. Like it was so sad. I was like, oh my God. And this boy was just like da eating his ice cream, like nothing happened. TV's still on, frozen on this commercial of the Ice Cream Man. So it was like, it was kind of like this Ice Cream Man knew to advertise for his neighbor. Like it was kind of like you knew this Ice Cream Man was sinister too, because he was advertising for kids in his neighborhood. Like it was like this is all connected somehow. Like I kind of had a feeling like, how does this come to fruition? Okay, I don't know. I kind of had a feeling, and so anyways, we have this detective and her partner. They get from their chief to look into
Well, hold on a second. Before that, though, they're interviewing. It shows them they're interviewing a lady, and we get explained who the characters are. And the lady's like talking about the fact there's something out in the woods, and it ate Mr. Buttersworth, and you're like, oh no, but yeah, I think so. Okay. Like, oh no, he's eating Mr. Butterworth. And they're like, okay, well, who's Mr. Butterworth? And she pulls a skeleton out of her purse of her cat. Her cat is literally just a skeleton. Ooh. And they're like, okay, crazy lady.
Yeah.
And they walk her off thinking she's just a crazy lady, and it's probably just, coyotes or she's just nuts and like skinned her cat, and she's walking around with the skeleton in her purse because she's walking around with a skeleton in her purse, and they think no big deal. And then, then the chief sends them off because these two Mr. and Mrs. have disappeared, right? They just show up to work and whatnot. So they go to the house. And the really cool part, I thought, is they're going to the house, they're driving along, they're living their dreary lives. They don't like their jobs, but they don't got anything else to do. They're not rich enough to quit, so they just go about their business, right? And it's like she's riding along, staring out the window, watching the neighborhood go by. And like, there's this voice, like the guy is speaking, but not speaking. And he's saying, like, I hate my life so much. I'm thinking about having an affair with my wife, whatever. And she's like, huh, what? And then he's talking about a birthday party. Like, he didn't really say it. Like, maybe she's just hearing things, kind of stuff. And he's talking about a birthday party. Why don't you come to it? They go to the kid's house. The door's open. They go inside. They find the parents dead and, putrefied in there. And the police, one of the detectives gets bit by the spider, and he immediately falls down and starts convulsing, and she's freaking out. The kid comes in and goes, oh, I'm sorry, Rupert doesn't like adults. And she's like, we got to get out of here. We got to catch the spider. And he's like, no, you're not taking my son. The kid runs off out of the house and off into the woods.
Yep. And then when she finally catches up to him, after
there's a giant werewolf man.
Lycanthrope. But she's
trying to eat the kid. There's skeletons. There's cat and dog skeletons and human skeletons laying all around.
But when she finally gets up to him, she's like, hey, what's your name? And then he tells her name. He tells her his name. And she's like, yeah, fuck you.
So she shoots at the werewolf. The werewolf's going to get him. The spider bites the werewolf. The spider gets upset. And the werewolf gets upset and runs away. And she's like all exhausted, right? Because she just saw a werewolf. She saw this crazy stuff. The kid and her are both laying there. And she's like, yeah, ask the kid. Kid, what's your name? My name's Byron. And she's like, yeah, well, fuck you, Byron. I don't know. It was just funnier than hell. It was just so funny. It's because she's just so sick of it all, kind of a thing. And then later on, he's running in the woods still.
No, he ended up going back to his ice cream truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but the werewolf's the ice cream man. They find him out wandering in the woods. His clothes are all torn. He looks like he's wearing the same clothes the werewolf guy was wearing. He picks up like, I don't know, a stick and says, hey, diddle diddle. And the stick turns into an ice cream. And he gives it to the kid.
That was earlier.
What's that?
That was earlier.
Was it? I don't know, it's just nuts. There's all kinds of craziness going on in it. Can't explain why it's all happening the way it is, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. That's what I'm saying. I loved it. I loved it. Like, I almost wanted to bring it up earlier, but I was like, I thought I was gonna save that one for last. Almost for last.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It was a good comment.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to call it Discount Company. I forgot to order issue number 2. So I have to go and get it ordered. Because it was nuts. It was nuts, and it was really, really cool. So
I love art. I like the art a lot.
Yeah. It was all around. It was an excellent comic. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, really good.
For sure. Another book that came out this week that I really enjoyed, Kid Lobotomy, issue number 4. This gives us maybe a history of Kid Lobotomy's girlfriend, shape-shifting house cleaner. Or it gives us one history of her, because the way it's told, it's like she's remembering a memory of who she might have been, and she's older than Kid, and she gets shot and killed at one point. All the foods here, because Kid Lobotomy's dad liked her because he wanted her to play Cornelia in a Shakespeare play, and because she was skinny, he could pick her dead body up, kind of a thing. So the way she gets out of playing this role as she eats lots, so she gets heavy enough that it's too hard to pick her up, kind of a thing. But every night he wants to reenact this Shakespearean play, but he does it different versions of it, space age versions of it. One where it's a mix of the Shakespeare play and oh, I forgot the name of the movie. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. What the hell is that movie?
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. Yeah, a mix between that and Gone with the Wind. It's just all kinds of nuttiness as far as that goes. It ends up not going well. Big Daddy, Kid Lobotomy's dad, his wife shows up, Big Mama, and she's mad because, of course, this other woman is playing Cornelia. Back in the day when they were younger, she was always Cornelia, and she was supposed to be the only Cornelia. But of course, she's become Big Mama, so it's hard to pick Big Mama up. So she gets Kid Lobotomy to shoot, wants to shoot Dad, and Dad's like, promises him everything as long as you don't shoot me, and he ends up accidentally shooting her. But that's one history of her, but maybe not the real history of her. We don't really know. The book kind of plays with all kinds of oddities as far as a lot of that kind of stuff goes and whatnot. So they're interesting and fun, quirky stories, but not a linear, solid, totally makes sense kind of a story. So if you're not willing to just kind of roll with what's going on, it could be a very frustrating. It could be a very frustrating book because it's not straightforward. Like I said, I think it being Peter Milligan, he's writing it for the long haul. What we're getting now may not have a payoff until issue 12.
I'm fine.
I just hope enough people are reading it. There's enough people invested in it to allow it to get to that point. Because sometimes Peter Milligan's books get canceled earlier than what he wants, and he doesn't get to tell it all because he's taking so long telling it all. For better or for worse, I don't know. But I'm digging it. Still liking it. Alrighty. Any other books we want to talk about?
Days of Hate.
Days of Hate. That came out. Was that last week too? That was last week too, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What's that?
My last book.
Yeah. Super heavy book.
Mm-hmm.
Set in the near future. If you think currently the climate in America is bad, with the kind of white supremacist stuff seems to be more in the headlines and all of that kind of stuff. This book is set in the near future, and all of that stuff is incredibly amplified. It starts out with a scene where an alternative get together, LGBTQ get together has been firebombed, and some swastikas were left behind. They're trying to figure out who it was that did it. We find out the people are trying to figure out who it was that did it aren't policemen. They're something else. They're leftists. I don't know what you want to call them, but they're trying to figure out what happened so they can seek some sort of justice, their own justice, not within the realm of the court of law. And they are figuring out that it is a group of white supremacists. Meanwhile, we're also getting this scene where a woman has been brought in by some special branch of like the FBI, or no, Homeland Security. It's a special branch of Homeland Security that deals with radicals' domestic issues. And the radicals they're looking for are left-leaning radicals. They're looking for the militant gay community and that sort of stuff is what they're looking for. And they brought this woman in, and we find out that this woman was the wife of one of these detectives. And we get kind of a brief history of their relationship that ends up going bad, and she is going to flip. She is going to seemingly going to tell Homeland Security about her ex-wife, because that's who they're hunting. Meanwhile, she and another guy have gone to this. She's like working undercover in this white supremacist group that they end up firebombing. They end up blowing this place up at the end of it and whatnot. But like I said, it's really heavy on like social issues as far as as far as like I said, the white supremacist stuff, the kind of where the government feels like it's going at and that stuff. I guess you could say maybe it's heavy-handed. I really enjoyed it, but very dark and very, very depressing. As America continues to kind of spin out of control and whatnot. What did you think of it, Rez?
I felt the exact same way. I felt I was really looking forward to reading it, and I read it, and I felt like it brought down. It was like one of the first, it was one of the first things I read last week. And it was, I kind of felt like it shouldn't have been the first book I read because it set the tone for everything else I read. It took me a while to read the rest of my comics because I was like, man, that was heavy,
heavy and depressing. And it was one of the first books I read. I think I was having books, and it was like, ooh.
I think I was having a rough week that week, so I was like, damn, like.
It was definitely a dark book. I'm looking forward to the rest of it just to kind of see what, because I think there's going to be more. There's going to be more there. I mean, here, okay, let me put it this way. I mean, this is my own personal whatever. Anybody who doesn't know me, I think a lot of people think I lean to the left as opposed to the right. I'm much more liberal about most stuff, whatnot. You open the book up, and the first thing that's on the inside cover when you go to look to see who it's all written by, it's got a Steve Bannon quote about feminism and where women should be. Okay, and if you have any understanding of American politics right now, you can just guess as to what that quote sounds like. You read that, and I'm just like, oh shit, this is going to be a doozy. And so, yeah, but it's
what's the dark moment though in the book though for me was when that guy he was really into her, and she was trying to escape out the bathroom. He was like, "You could have just told me no," and she's like, "But you're Nazi," and then she literally just shot him in the head. Like it was like there's no need. Like you could just like you have to kill the guy. That was like I understand not liking the guy. I understand not liking him for who he is and for what he does, but to kill the guy.
No, man. Punch all Nazis. Punch all Nazis. Did not. I am an evil militant, whatever. I'm perfectly okay with shooting the guy through the head. This is a group that goes around and fire bombs other people. So
I'm totally down for eradicating.
I get what you're saying. She is extremely cold.
Yeah,
she is extremely cold. I mean, that just defines that character is.
Well, I'm saying they present him as a decent guy.
As a decent white supremacist. Okay.
You're making me feel bad. You're making me feel bad.
No, whatever.
You're making me feel. No, they made the guy seem like they made him seem like he was nice. They did. Didn't make him seem like he came in there and he was like, I just wanted a drink. They made him seem like I totally forgot the guy was a Nazi. I'm just saying. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot the guy was a Nazi.
No, I get it. I mean, that wasn't the focus on that character, but that's where she was. She was this big old get together. They're talking about all this stuff. There were the SS lightning bolts hanging out all over the place. They were a white power group. He was decent in that he wanted some ass. And the other dudes there were like, hey, it's guy time now. You should go hang with the women. And he was like, he was decent. And then he went, hey, no, leave her alone. She's with me. That's about it. For me, that's about as good as he got as far as being okay. And I think that's just because he was hoping to get some.
Well, yeah, that could have been. Yeah.
Yeah, so she sneaks off to the bathroom. She leaves a bomb under the table. She sneaks off into the bathroom, and she kicked the backpack under the table, and she's gonna creep out She's like, yeah, we'll get drinks. I just need to go pee. She goes to the bathroom, goes to sneak out the window, and he's come into the bathroom. What kind of a creep goes into the bathroom?
Makes sense. Okay,
right? And he's like, dude, you didn't have to run off. You could have just said no. All I wanted was a drink, or whatever. And she's like, yeah, maybe you aren't so bad. And then she. Boom! Shoots him in the head.
Yeah,
right between the eyes, and then she crawls the window, and then boom.
He's gonna Nazis. Yeah, I guess he was gonna die anyways. I guess she just was saving him. Yeah, I just figured. I just kind of felt like that was really unnecessary.
I just think it goes to. I think what that does is it establishes how cold she is.
And the fact is establish it. That's what I'm saying. Establish how cold she is. I just figured the guy, like,
I dug it.
Film like that.
Yes.
Okay. You say so, Travis.
Nice guy who's going to hold the door for her. It just happened to be a stall door.
So. Right. Exactly. Let me help you take a piss. Yes. Yeah. And then afterwards we can go kill some people. Yeah. No, boo.
Yeah.
No sympathy whatsoever. At any rate, a good book, but a heavy book, dark book, a depressing book, without a doubt. Yeah. For sure. Now I'm not going to go into real detail on it, but Maestro issue number 4, digging this book. Whereas the first issue I was kind of whatever. I really like it now. It has awesome payoff for people who are reading in singles, because every single issue, we have the craziest from the last issue. The guy goes through whatever, starts to fix some stuff, starts to explore some stuff, and by the end of the issue, somebody is like, in some way, we as readers are kind of slapped in the face with some shocking, oh crap, you thought it couldn't get bad, but now it's bad again, kind of a moment, leaving us on a cliffhanger of what is next. And I love it, because I don't know, when you read it in trade, you're going to read 20 pages and then it's going to have a bump moment, and then you're going to be right into the next thing. And I don't think it's going to have the same kind of, it feels like it's written, those aspects of it keep it, making it feel like it's written for single issues as opposed to a longer story. There's a longer story being told of him getting this power and trying to build it up and all of that. And that's all really interesting and whatnot. And I'm enjoying it. The art is beautiful. What you see on the cover literally is what it is inside. It is gorgeous, eye candy, heavy detail, wonderful color work by Dave Stewart. But I love the fact that every issue ends on a cliffhanger, ends on an explosion, ends on him getting clonked in the head, by his loved one, ends by, all that kind of stuff. But it is so great. And after reading this, I keep thinking, there really aren't that many books that read serialized as well as what this does. It just really, really, ends on those moments that make you excited, make you want to check out the next issue because it ends that kind of a way, whatnot. Perfect payoff for the single reader. And I see in the comments that Damien is with us, Sleepy Reader 66, and he is saying that he loves Maestro for the roller coaster ride. And that great point on it, on fitting for a serial reader. So it's just nice to see that, for sure. And thanks for jumping on live.
I didn't get the Maestros this week.
Oh.
I had
and quickly I'll talk about Sherlock Frankenstein and the supposed Legion of Evil issue 4, the end of this. This did not need to be. This 4 issues, don't bother if you're gonna pick up the trades, you haven't read Black Hammer, or you've read Black Hammer, you're wondering about this, there's no need. This didn't inform anything really at all. It confirms there was a love relationship between the supposed villain Sherlock Frankenstein and Golden Gale. We kind of were hinted at that in the regular run of the book. This issue in particular had lots of just blah 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 narration of I was once gonna die. I was a super genius. I figured out how to keep myself alive. I got bored. I became a superhero. I got bored of that because I couldn't save my loved one when she got old and died. So then I became a villain. It was fun for a while. There was the Silver Age. There was the Golden Age. There was the Bronze Age of superheroes. And then I retired from it because I got bored from it too. Blah, 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 blah. But didn't even utilize Dave Rabine's artwork very well, in my opinion. So, yeah, just kind of a bummer, issues. It wasn't even interesting filler. It was just, yeah. So. Yeah, Damien's saying he didn't care for it either. It doesn't even tell us how Black Hammer's daughter found her way to Limbo Town, where most of the heroes went, which is true. I thought maybe it was at least going to give that. So yeah, it was 4 issues we didn't need. I have signed on to get the there's the next series that's coming out. It is Dr. Star and the Kingdom of the Lost Tomorrows. It's got Max Ferrara on art with Dave Stewart coloring it. So I like his art, so I would pick it up. He's one of the 2 artists that was on Abe Sapien for a long time. I dig his look and his style. So I guess I'll be checking this out, but I'm worried that I'm going to be as frustrated by it as I was by the by this. So I don't know. Damien says it seemed like it was notes for a story they didn't feel like fleshing out. 100%, that's what it was. It's like he's probably got the whole world written down somewhere, and he's beautifully focused on Black Hammer. That book is just so good on so many levels, you know, exploring old time heroes and putting their twists on it and all that kind of stuff. And this really did. This just felt like, oh, I got this side plot over here about the villains. Oh, we need to take a break while Black Hammer is taking a break. So let's do this. And it was more notes than it was story. That's a good way of describing it for sure. So, but Damien is foolish and he's signed on for the other one too. So I have to check it out because, you know, because this one wasn't, the other one, maybe there's more thought to it. It's going to explore something. This one didn't really. So yeah. And that's basically it for the books that I've got read. I still have a big stack of books that I have not gotten to yet. So I'm looking forward to diving into some of those at some point. Any other books you guys want to talk about?
Nope.
No? I don't know of any independent type news. You know, other than, of course, they confirmed the Killer Be Killed movie. I mean, it's still in the slow stages of that, and I'll be curious to see. I don't know. The way the story's being told in the comic, I'm having a hard time conceiving of how they would tell this story in a movie. There's just too much rich kind of detail and build up that I don't know. Plus the way Killer Be Killed is narrated, because so much of it is narration. It's Dylan telling us the story, you know, like going back and telling us how he got to the point he's at now. The issue starts at the beginning. Oh, here I am in the psych ward. Well, how did I get here? And then it spends time telling you how he got there. And I'm not sure how a movie is going to be able to consistently tell that. Because it's one of the magics of comic books, that kind of narration that is hard to do in movies. TV show, I think it could do a little bit better, but I think it's even harder there. And the Mr. Robot does a pretty decent job of having of narrating. You gotta watch it. Of having a narrating voice talking to us because the main character Elliot is suffering from schizophrenia. And so he spends a certain amount of time talking to us, the audience. I mean, he actually, are you there, friend? I mean, he actually has that. So it does a really good job of it. And so it will be interesting to see, because kind of Killer Be Killed's told in the same fashion. So it'll be interesting to see if they try and use that narrative voice there or whatnot. So, Sleepy Reader is saying that he worries that a movie forces the story in Killer Be Killed to come to a conclusion and the answer too fast. I hope so. I hope that's not the case either. Anytime I hear an independent book has been picked up as a TV or a movie show, I am instantly afraid that it has killed the book. Sometimes the book stops. It's amazing how many books get greenlit for one of those things, and then suddenly they quit making the comic.
Mark Millar going to do that. Will stop.
Yeah, well, that's all Mark Millar's doing is private movies and TV show. That's bullshit. I don't buy anything from Mark Millar anymore because of that.
Reborn. What happened? Reborn. Everybody was so sad about Reborn. What happened? Reborn?
Yeah. And Sleepy's saying because Killer Be Killed also has that magic of a monthly serial like Master does. It lends itself to reward you to read it in single issues on the monthly, you know, to get it and get those surprises, and then be able to set on that surprise for a while or that reveal, and then wait a month and then pick up the next issue and on. And I don't see how I can see how it works for a TV show. I don't see how it works for a movie.
You know, it may surprise us. I'm gonna see. I'm not saying I won't watch it. But I'm with Damien.
I'm with Sleepy Reader 666,
oh, yeah,
and then I'm always afraid that it's going to screw up a good thing. So
yeah, I'm with you guys too. I'm gonna hesitate as well. I'm gonna write it out and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming on and talking. Thank you for those of you who came on to watch the show live, who've kind of hung with us the whole time. Much appreciated. Thank you for those of you who waited because we started so darn late. I will crack the whip because it's those guys' fault. It's not mine. I'll crack the whip. And we'll get the show started closer to the time I like to act like it's going to start instead of waiting 45 minutes before we get going. But I was just happy to get my comic books, to be quite honest. The last couple of weeks between either me being deathly ill or my comic books coming like a week late, it's just been nice to get to read some of the comics, to get to hang out with you guys and talk comic books and talk with you in the chat. It's been really nice. I appreciate you guys all being here. So thank you for that. Yep. So with that, have a great night, everybody. And hopefully I'll be back next week. Talk some more comics. Have a great one.